Welcome to Cello. At readcello.com, you create personalized novels based on your input. You can also find a library of ebooks and audiobooks, just like this one. This free audiobook of The Shattered Crown is brought to you by readcello.com. Enjoy the book. The Shattered Crown has been written and narrated by the amazing team at readcello.com. Dedication. This book is dedicated to the community seeker. The community seeker reads to connect. They love stories that spark conversations, fuel discussions, and create shared experiences with others. For them, books are more than just entertainment. They're a way to bond, to exchange ideas, and to be part of something bigger. Whether it's through book clubs, online fandoms, buddy reads, or social media discussions, they thrive on engaging with others about what they read. They aren't just looking for a good story. They're looking for a reading experience that brings people together. The Shattered Crown. Chapter 1, A Gem's Worth. Kaelin woke up with the sun peeking into her room, illuminating the colorful gems scattered across her workspace. The faint sparkle of the polished stones caught her eye, igniting her passion for gemology. She quickly sat up, heart racing with anticipation for the day ahead, filled with potential and the promise of adventure. After throwing off the covers, she moved with purpose, gathering her tools and materials, mentally preparing to tend to the busy shop that was her family's legacy. Each step she took echoed her childhood dreams of discovering hidden gems, of unraveling secrets and uncovering treasures. As she prepared, she felt a spark of excitement. The day would be different, and she was ready to embrace whatever came her way. The sun's golden rays poured in, filling her with determination as she envisioned the possibilities lying just beyond the familiar walls of her home. As she entered the family gem shop, the familiar scent of earth and minerals enveloped her. Kaelin was instantly greeted by the vibrant display of sparkling gemstones lined up on the shelves, each one holding a story waiting to be told. She moved to the counter, her fingers brushing against the cool surfaces, feeling the weight of history and craftsmanship. Today was her day to shine, to share her knowledge with customers and showcase the beauty of each gem. As she reached for a particularly rare stone, she paused, feeling a mixture of excitement and determination bubbling within her. This gem was special, and she was ready to introduce its unique qualities to the world. With renewed focus, she arranged the gems, preparing for the day ahead, each one a reminder of the treasures that lay in discovery and connection. A customer entered the shop, their eyes wide with curiosity as they scanned the array of colorful gems. Kaelin stepped forward with a warm smile, eager to share her passion. "Welcome. Looking for something special today?" she asked, her enthusiasm shining through. The customer approached, admiring a deep blue sapphire. "I'm searching for a gift, something that represents strength and beauty," they replied, clearly captivated by the options before them. Kaelin seized the opportunity to showcase her knowledge, explaining, "This sapphire is believed to bring clarity and wisdom, making it a perfect choice." Their conversation flowed easily, Kaelin's heart swelling with pride as she guided the customer toward making a meaningful selection, enjoying the connection formed through her love of gems. Ryan entered the shop with a playful grin, shaking his head as he caught sight of Kaelin lost in her world of gemstones. "Still daydreaming about your adventures, are you?" he teased, crossing his arms with a light-hearted smirk. Kaelin rolled her eyes, unable to suppress a smile. "I'm focusing on the customers, always looking for the next treasure to uncover," she retorted, her eyes sparkling with determination. Ryan leaned against the counter, his expression shifting to one of protective concern. "Just remember, it's not just about finding gems, it's about being safe too. The world isn't as kind as you'd like to think," he warned gently, his tone a mix of brotherly love and caution. Kaelin felt a flicker of frustration, but understood his intentions. "I know, Ryan, but I can handle myself. I want to explore beyond these walls." With that, the light-hearted moment shifted into a deeper conversation, the bond between siblings underscored by the unfolding responsibilities and dreams they both carried. As the day continued, Kaelin turned her attention back to the gemstones, but her mind lingered on the legendary Bloodstone. She recalled the tales her father used to tell about its immense power and the adventures it inspired. "Can you imagine finding it?" she mused aloud, almost to herself. Ryan, snapping back to the conversation, said, "It's just a story, Kaelin. Those kinds of adventures, they come with risks." Kaelin shook her head, a mix of determination and excitement bubbling within her. But what if it's real? What if it's out there waiting for someone to discover it? The thrill of possibility ignited her ambition, pushing her to consider the path beyond their shop. In that moment, she felt a desire not just for gems, but for exploration, for uncovering the truths hidden in the world beyond the safe confines of Avalor. Just then, a loud crash echoed from outside, snapping Kaelin back to reality. She rushed to the window, her heart racing as she saw a crowd forming in front of the shop. Whispers of panic mixed with curiosity, and she exchanged a concerned glance with Ryan. "What's happening out there?" Kaelin asked, moving toward the door, urgency propelling her forward. Ryan followed closely, putting a protective hand on her shoulder. "Be careful. It might be trouble." As they stepped outside, Kaelin felt a surge of adrenaline, ready to face whatever challenge awaited them, her ambitions igniting a fire within her that refused to be extinguished. Chapter 2: Unearthed Secrets. While Kaelin was still absorbing the anxiety in the crowd, she noticed a commotion near the market square. Curiosity drew her closer as shadows danced between the stalls, the sound of hurried voices mingling with the rustle of fabric. She pushed through the throng of townspeople, her heart pounding with anticipation. Glimmers of unease fluttered in the atmosphere, and whispers of a theft began to filter through the gathered crowd. "What's going on?" she asked a vendor who looked equally bewildered, his hands trembling as he pointed toward the royal guards gathering nearby. "They say a valuable gem has been stolen from the palace," the vendor replied, his eyes wide with disbelief. Kaelin felt a rush of adrenaline course through her, the hint of danger stirring her longing for adventure, and she pressed on to learn more. As Kaelin maneuvered through the crowd, she overheard snippets of conversation that painted a picture of chaos. A woman gasped. "It was the Bloodstone. The royal family is in an uproar." Kaelin's heart raced at the mention of the legendary gem, its lore drawing her deeper into the unfolding drama. She caught sight of a group of palace guards rushing past, their faces grim and their armor glinting in the sunlight. Determined to uncover more, Kaelin approached a guard stationed near the entrance to the market. "Excuse me, what happened? What do you know about the Bloodstone?" she asked, her voice steady but filled with urgency. The guard, momentarily distracted, looked at her with a mix of caution and irritation. "That's classified," he replied tersely, but the unease in his eyes suggested there was more at stake than he could share. Kaelin pressed on, determination fueling her resolve despite the guard's dismissal. "I need to know. This is important," she insisted, her voice firm, capturing the guard's attention momentarily. "People are in danger, and I might be able to help," she added, desperation creeping into her tone. The guard hesitated, shifting his weight. "Listen, kid," he said more softly. "You don't want to get involved. This is bigger than you think. Just stay out of it." As he turned away, Kaelin felt a surge of frustration, but also an undeniable urge to uncover the truth. With purpose, she turned back to the crowd, scanning faces for any signs of insight or useful information. She realized that even without the guard's help, she needed to take action to unravel the mystery of the missing Bloodstone. Kaelin stepped closer to the market square, where a huddle of townsfolk gathered, murmuring anxiously among themselves. She intended to listen to the gossip, hoping to glean details that might help her understand the situation better. "Did you hear? The palace is on lockdown!" a man exclaimed, gripping his friend's arm, eyes wide with fear. "What do you think happened to the Bloodstone?" another voice chimed in, echoing Kaelin's own thoughts. Kaelin slipped into the circle of onlookers, her ears perked for any useful information. Someone mentioned sightings of suspicious figures near the palace the night before, and her interest intensified, sensing a lead. She felt the weight of the gathering unease pressing upon her, realizing that she couldn't stand by while fear gripped her community, deepening her resolve to investigate further. Just then, a familiar face broke through the crowd. Finn, the ranger she had met in the Whispering Woods. His presence instantly brought a spark of hope, and Kaelin called out, "Finn, have you heard anything about the Bloodstone?" Finn approached, his brow furrowed with concern. "I have. The situation is worse than it seems. I saw figures lurking near the palace. They seem to have a plan. Kaelin's mind raced as she considered the implications of his words. Do you think they're planning to use it? Finn nodded grimly. If they manage to get their hands on that gem, it could spell disaster for Avalor. Kaelin felt a surge of determination. This was not just gossip anymore. We have to do something. We can't let them jeopardize our home. Finn studied her for a moment and said, I'll help, but we need to move quickly and quietly. We can't let Dorian know we're onto him. With a sense of urgency building between them, Kaelin and Finn quickly devised a plan. First, we need to gather more information about their movements, Kaelin said, her mind racing with possibilities. Finn agreed, pointing toward a shadowy way through the market. Let's find a vantage point where we can surveil the palace without drawing attention. Together, they slipped away from the crowd, navigating the bustling streets until they reached a nearby rooftop that offered a clear view of the area. As they stealthily climbed, Kaelin felt her heart pound in anticipation, excitement mingling with trepidation about what they might uncover. At the top, they crouched low behind the edge, scanning the palace grounds for any signs of activity. Kaelin's pulse quickened as she spotted a group of cloaked figures moving suspiciously near the entrance. Look over there, she whispered, her voice barely audible. They must be involved in the theft. Chapter 3, Shadows of Chaos. As Kaelin and Finn watched from their hidden vantage point, the tension in the air thickened. The cloaked figures moved with purpose, exchanging hushed words and glances that hinted at their intent to infiltrate the palace. Kaelin tightened her grip on the edge of the rooftop, her mind racing with a mixture of fear and determination. We need to find out what they're planning, she whispered, excitement bubbling beneath her composed exterior. Finn nodded, his expression serious. If they're working for Dorian, we could be in big trouble. The urgency of the situation ignited a fire within Kaelin. She understood that her next actions would be crucial in either protecting Avalor or plunging it further into chaos. Kaelin and Finn quietly maneuvered down the rooftop, careful not to draw attention to themselves. They slipped through an alleyway that led closer to the palace, their hearts pounding with a mix of adrenaline and fear. As they approached the building's edge, the murmur of the cloaked figures grew clearer, and Kaelin strained to eavesdrop on their conversation. They'll never see it coming, one voice sneered, causing a chill to run down her spine. What if someone finds out? Another replied, their tone wary. Dorian won't be happy if we attract attention. Kaelin exchanged a glance with Finn, realizing they had stumbled upon a crucial piece of information. They needed to act quickly and strategically to thwart whatever plot Dorian was concocting. As Kaelin listened intently, the pieces of their conversation fell into place, revealing a plot far more dangerous than she had anticipated. Tonight, we strike when the guards are changing shifts, the first figure declared, confidence lacing his words. Kaelin's heart raced as she realized they intended to act under the cover of darkness, exploiting a moment of vulnerability at the palace. Finn shifted beside her, whispering, We have to warn the guards. If we don't, they'll be overwhelmed. Kaelin nodded, but a plan began to form in her mind. We'll need to draw some of the figures away first. If we can disrupt their gathering, it'll buy us time. Before Finn could respond, she added, Let's find a way to create a distraction near their meeting point. Determined, Kaelin felt the weight of responsibility settle on her shoulders, knowing their next moves could mean the difference between success and failure. Kaelin scanned the area and spotted an old cart filled with empty crates near the alley. Finn, help me with that cart. We can create a blockage near the entrance, she said, her voice low but urgent. Together, they pushed the cart toward the edge of the alley, positioning it strategically to serve as a makeshift barrier. Once it's in place, I'll cause a diversion on the other side of the palace, she continued, strategizing as they worked to secure the cart. Finn nodded, his eyes focused and ready. I'll keep watch for any guards. Just say the word when you're ready. With the plan set and the cart secured, Kaelin felt a surge of adrenaline pulse through her veins. She was ready to act, ready to protect Avalor, and no longer afraid to confront the enemies that threatened her home. Taking a deep breath, Kaelin crept away from the cart, her heart pounding as she approached a nearby alley that faced the palace's side entrance. The sounds of the ambush echoed faintly behind her, but her focus remained sharp. She glanced back at Finn, who gave an encouraging nod, reminding her that they were in this together. With deliberate steps, she picked up a rock and threw it toward a distant window, the sound of shattering glass reverberating through the night. Merely a moment later, the cloaked figures turned, their attention drawn away from the entrance as confusion spread among them. "Now!" she hissed, waving at Finn to signal him to follow her plan, feeling the adrenaline surge as the opportunity presented itself. With the distraction successfully created, Kaelin rushed back to the cart, her heart racing as she signaled for Finn to move. They quickly maneuvered around the alley, taking advantage of the chaos now unfolding in the palace courtyard. Distant shouts echoed as the cloaked figures attempted to regroup, but Kaelin felt the thrill of determination surging within her. "Now or never," she whispered, leading Finn and the others toward the entrance they had observed earlier. Kaelin pushed forward, utilizing the advanced knowledge taken from her trainings and experiences to navigate through the increasingly tense atmosphere. As they reached the entrance, she mentally prepared herself for whatever lay ahead, knowing that their actions in this moment could change the fate of Avalor. Chapter 4, A Map Revealed. As Kaelin and her allies slipped through the entrance, they found themselves in a dimly lit corridor lined with ornate decorations and the scent of polished wood. The atmosphere shifted, tension thickening in the air as they silently moved deeper into the palace. Kaelin's heart raced, driven by both the thrill of the hunt and the fear of discovery. "Stay quiet and keep your eyes open," she whispered, reminding everyone of the stakes at hand. They crept forward, navigating through a series of hallways that twisted like a labyrinth, her mind racing with thoughts of Leo's safety and the plans for the Bloodstone. The once grand surroundings now felt intimidating, amplifying the urgency of their mission as they approached a door at the end of the corridor that promised either answers or danger. Kaelin paused in front of the door, the heavy wood feeling imposing beneath her fingertips. "Are we ready?" she asked, glancing back at her allies, gauging their expressions. Finn nodded, his face set with resolve. "Let's do it," he replied, bracing himself for what lay beyond. Taking a deep breath, Kaelin pushed the door open slowly, the hinges creaking ominously. Inside, they were met with a room full of scattered documents and artifacts, evidence of Dorian's past dealings. Their eyes widened as they realized they had stumbled upon a hidden cache of information. The treasure trove of Dorian's plans laid bare before them, offering vital insights into their next steps. Kaelin stepped cautiously into the room, her eyes scanning the chaotic arrangement of parchment and trinkets that filled the space. The atmosphere was charged with possibility, and she felt a rush of excitement mixed with caution. "Look at this," she said, approaching a table covered in scrolls. "These could tell us everything we need to know about what he's planning." Finn and the others began rummaging through the documents with growing interest, reading snippets aloud that pointed to Dorian's ambitions and the possible locations of the Bloodstone. Asher remained quiet, visibly wrestling with his doubts while trying to figure out what to make of the information. Kaelin took note of his hesitance, understanding that even amidst the thrill of discovery, some uncertainty still lingered among her allies. As Kaelin studied one of the maps, she noticed a familiar location marked with an ominous red circle, a site previously associated with the Bloodstone. Excitement tinged with apprehension coursed through her, and she shared her discovery with the group. "This is it. We can't let Dorian control this information." Finn, still examining another scroll, looked up with intrigue. "If we get to the Bloodstone first, we can use it against him." However, Asher furrowed his brow, crossing his arms. "And if we are wrong, what if this just leads us into another trap?" Kaelin felt the weight of his skepticism, but remained resolute. "We need to take calculated risks. This is our best lead." Recognizing the importance of willingness to adapt within their mission, she pressed on, reminding them, "Every gemstone tells a story, and this could be ours." Kaelin's voice held an edge of urgency as she continued, "If we don't act quickly, Dorian could beat us to it. The longer we wait, the more danger we're in." Her conviction sparked a flame of determination in the group, and the atmosphere crackled with newfound energy. Finn nodded and added, "We need to gather supplies for the journey then. I can scout ahead to make sure the path is clear." Kaelin felt a swell of gratitude and confidence. "Great idea. If we split up, we can cover more ground." Asher's tension eased slightly as he glanced at his comrades, seeing the spark of unity grow among them. "All right, let's do this, but we keep comms open. No one gets left behind again." With a firm plan in place, Kaelin felt the weight of leadership settle on her shoulders, prepared to guide her allies into the unknown, both strategically and trustfully. With a renewed sense of purpose, the group began gathering their supplies, moving efficiently through the hidden chamber. Kaelin double-checked the maps, ensuring they had everything they needed, her mind focused and determined. She watched as Leo packed extra rations, his movements deliberate, and felt a sense of pride in how far he had come since they first began this journey together. "Make sure to grab those healing herbs," Kaelin called out, remembering the healer's instructions from earlier. Asher found himself measuring the tension in the air as he worked alongside Finn, quietly realizing that perhaps the bond in their group was stronger than he had believed. Kaelin's confidence infused the atmosphere, uniting them as they prepared for the challenges that lay ahead, each member ready to face the quest together as equals. Chapter 5, Gathering Shadows. As dawn broke, the first rays of sunlight spilled across the landscape, casting a golden hue over the forest. Kaelin stood at the edge of the Whispering Woods, her heart racing with a mix of anticipation and uncertainty. The peaceful morning felt deceptive, masking the dangers that lurked beneath the surface. She could hear the distant sounds of the waking forest, birds chirping, leaves rustling, the gentle flow of a nearby stream. Kaelin took a deep breath, steeling herself for the journey ahead. "Are we ready?" she asked, turning back to her allies who were gathering their gear, their faces a mix of excitement and apprehension. With a firm nod from each, she felt a sense of unity wash over her, bolstering her confidence as they prepared to venture into the unknown together. As they stepped into the woods, Kaelin felt the cool air wrap around her, a stark contrast to the warmth of the rising sun. She paused, taking a moment to observe their surroundings. The trees towered above them, their branches forming a thick canopy that filtered the sunlight into scattered beams. "Stay close and keep your voices down," she instructed, her tone firm yet filled with resolve. The group moved cautiously, ears attuned to the sounds of the forest, aware that danger could lurk in the shadows. Kaelin's heart raced as she recalled the tales of magical creatures that protected the woods, her curiosity battling with caution as they trekked deeper into the foliage. She led the way with confidence, navigating the path as her allies followed, each step bringing them closer to their goal, while the thrill of adventure fueled her spirit. As they ventured deeper into the woods, Kaelin felt the atmosphere shift subtly, a tension hanging in the air. The woods were eerily quiet, the usual sounds of wildlife seemingly muted. She exchanged glances with Finn, who walked closely beside her, his expression mirroring her unease. "Something feels off," he whispered, scanning the shadows between the trees. Kaelin nodded, her instincts kicking in. "Stay alert, we need to keep moving." Suddenly, a rustle from nearby bushes sent a wave of adrenaline coursing through her. Her grip tightened on her weapon as she motioned for everyone to halt. "Everyone, take positions. If there's something out there, we need to be ready," she commanded, her tone steady and authoritative, reflecting her growth in leadership under pressure. Kaelin's heart raced as she crouched, eyes fixed on the bushes from which the rustling had come. "Is it just the wind?" Leo whispered, uncertainty lacing his voice. Kaelin shook her head, urging silence as she strained to listen, every sense heightened. Finn moved closer, glancing over her shoulder. "What if it's Dorian's men?" he suggested, his face tense with worry. Before Kaelin could respond, the underbrush parted, revealing a small, startled fawn that bolted away, disappearing into the thicket. A collective release of tension rippled through the group as they shared nervous laughter, breaking the heaviness that had settled over them. "Just a little one," Kaelin said with a relieved smile, appreciating the brief moment of levity amidst the uncertainty. But even as they resumed their journey, She couldn't shake the feeling that they were being watched, pushing them to remain vigilant and aware. As the group continued on the path, Kaelin felt a renewed sense of focus, adjusting her pace to ensure everyone stayed close together. "Let's keep moving. We can't afford to linger too long," she urged, her voice steady. With each step, she scanned their surroundings, noting the subtle shifts in the forest, the way the light filtered through the leaves, casting shadows that danced around them. They climbed over a fallen log, and Kaelin felt the ground beneath her shift, reminding her of the unstable nature of their journey. "Be careful," Finn warned as he steadied himself next to her, showing his growing attentiveness and support. Kaelin smiled at him, appreciating their camaraderie as they navigated the unpredictability of the woods, each moment reinforcing their bond and shared determination to see the mission through. As they penetrated deeper into the woods, an unexpected silence enveloped them, the vibrant sounds of nature fading into a tense stillness. Kaelin felt a knot form in her stomach, her instincts kicking in again. "Does anyone else feel that?" she asked, glancing at her allies who shared uneasy expressions. Leo nodded, his brow furrowed. "It's too quiet. Something's not right." Kaelin signaled for them to halt, eyes narrowing as she scanned the trees surrounding them. Just as tension reached its peak, a sudden roar echoed in the distance, sending chills down her spine. "Everyone, stay alert," she commanded, adrenaline surging as they prepared for whatever lay ahead, her leadership instincts igniting in the face of uncertainty. Chapter 6, The Guardian's Challenge. The roar faded, leaving an uneasy silence in its wake as Kaelin gathered her allies closely. "Let's move, but quietly," she instructed, her voice barely above a whisper. They pressed forward, anticipation crackling in the air, each step cautious as they navigated the dense underbrush. Kaelin's heart raced, her instincts heightened as she recalled the stories of creatures that roamed these woods. The adrenaline urged her to stay vigilant, her mind racing with possibilities of what lay ahead. She could feel the weight of her responsibility for her friends, pushing her to remain composed, even as uncertainty loomed around every corner. With a steadying breath, Kaelin led the group toward a narrower path, the trees bending overhead to create a natural archway. The canopy filtered the sunlight, casting dappled shadows on the forest floor, and she felt a surge of adrenaline mixed with trepidation. "Stay close and keep an eye out for anything unusual," she instructed, her voice firm as they navigated the less familiar terrain. Finn moved alongside her, gaze darting between the foliage, clearly attuned to the same sense of danger. Kaelin could see that his confidence had grown since their first venture, adding reassurance to her own resolve. Together, they pressed forward, the urgency of their mission propelling them through the woods, each step bringing them closer to the answers they sought. As they moved deeper into the woods, the air grew thicker with anticipation, every rustle of leaves or snap of twigs setting them on edge. Kaelin's heart raced as she suddenly caught sight of a flicker of movement to her right. "Did you see that?" she whispered, halting the group and motioning for silence. Finn nodded, eyes wide with awareness. "Let's check it out, but cautiously." Kaelin felt a mix of fear and excitement rushing through her, recognizing the importance of teamwork in such critical moments. With a shared determination, they moved stealthily toward the noise, ready to confront whatever awaited them, each step amplifying their connection and commitment to the mission. As they approached the source of the movement, Kaelin's senses heightened, adrenaline coursing through her veins. Suddenly, a figure darted across their path, a deer, startled by their presence, bounding away into the underbrush. Relief washed over Kaelin, but it was short-lived as she turned to see Finn tense beside her, his eyes narrowing as he pointed at a different direction. "Look," he whispered urgently, spotting a shadow flitting between the trees. Kaelin felt her heart skip, recognizing that they were not alone in the woods. "Stay low and move quietly," she instructed, refocusing the group's attention as she prepared herself for whatever might emerge from the shadows. With renewed vigilance, they continued, each of them aware that any moment could reveal unexpected challenges. With a steadying breath, Kaelin glanced back at her allies, gauging their readiness as they crept forward through the dense foliage. The quietness felt oppressive, every sound amplified as they moved with caution, hearts pounding in unison. Keep an eye on each other, she reminded them, her voice barely above a whisper. Just ahead, the trees parted to reveal a small clearing, the sunlight spilling in and illuminating a half-buried object at its center. Kaelin pushed forward, curiosity driving her. There was a tension in the air, both exhilarating and foreboding. As she knelt to examine it, she realized it was a shattered gemstone, its jagged edges catching the light, and she couldn't shake the feeling that it was a sign of the impending dangers they faced on their quest. Kaelin carefully brushed away the dirt from the gemstone, revealing its brilliant colors beneath the grime. "Look at this," she called softly to her allies, her heart racing with anticipation. As they gathered around, Finn exclaimed, "It's beautiful, but what does it mean?" Kaelin contemplated the broken gem, sensing that it was more than just a decorative piece. It carried a weight of significance tied to their mission. "This could be a warning," she said, her voice steady as she processed the implications. "Things are not as they seem in these woods." The realization settled over the group, a reminder that they must approach their quest with caution, ready for whatever challenges awaited them as they ventured forward. Chapter 7, A Dangerous Choice. With the warning of the shattered gemstone fresh in her mind, Kaelin rallied her allies to move deeper into the Whispering Woods. They proceeded with a renewed focus, each step echoing the seriousness of their mission. The trees loomed tall above them, their branches weaving together like fingers grasping for something beyond. As they ventured, Kaelin took the lead, her senses heightened, alert for any signs of danger that might lurk in the shadows. The air buzzed with anticipation, and she could feel the weight of her responsibility for her companions pressing on her shoulders. "Stay close together and keep your eyes peeled for anything unusual," she instructed, her voice steady despite the flutter of nerves in her stomach. As they navigated through the thickening trees, Kaelin noticed the shift in the atmosphere. The sounds of wildlife had fallen silent. She paused, glancing back at Finn and the others. "Does it feel quieter to you?" she asked, her heart pounding with a mix of unease and anticipation. "Yes," Finn replied, scanning the surroundings. "It's unsettling, like we're being watched." Kaelin felt a chill run down her spine. She recalled stories of enchanted creatures that roamed these woods, often protective but sometimes hostile. Pushing forward, she tried to shake off the dread clinging to her, focusing on the path ahead. "We need to stay alert and stick together," she reminded the group, determined to keep their spirits high in the face of uncertainty. As Kaelin led the group forward, a sudden rustle in the bushes caught her attention, freezing her in place. "Did you hear that?" she whispered urgently, her heartbeat quickening. Finn nodded, moving closer beside her. "It could be anything," he murmured, his eyes narrowing as he tried to gauge the source of the noise. Kaelin signaled for everyone to crouch low, their breath held in anticipation as they focused on the sounds surrounding them. Moments later, a small, mischievous fox darted from the underbrush, its bright eyes reflecting the dappled sunlight. The tension released in a collective sigh of relief, laughter bubbling up as they exchanged glances. But Kaelin couldn't shake the feeling that they were still being watched, their mission pressing forward amid the uncertainty. Continuing along the path, Kaelin felt a surge of adrenaline as they approached a thin clearing, sunlight flooding in, invigorating their spirits. Suddenly, a figure emerged from the shadows, a large, imposing creature with dark fur and sharp eyes, observing them with keen interest. "What is that?" Leo gasped, stepping back instinctively. "It looks like a guardian," Kaelin whispered, recalling the stories of the enchanted beings that protected the woods. As the creature moved forward, its intent unreadable, Kaelin straightened her back, feeling the weight of her responsibility for her group pressing down on her. "We come in peace," she declared, attempting to project confidence as she stepped forward, her heart racing with both fear and determination. The guardian paused, its sharp gaze fixed on Kaelin, assessing her presence as she stood firm. For a heartbeat, the tension hung in the air, each member of the group holding their breath in anticipation. Kaelin took another step forward, feeling an unexplainable pull toward the creature. "We seek knowledge and your guidance," she continued, her voice steady despite the unease within her. As if sensing her sincerity, the guardian lowered its stance slightly, the tension in its body relaxing. It regarded each member of their group, and Kaelin could feel the weight of its judgment, understanding that this moment could define their path forward. "Show me your intentions," the Guardian finally rumbled, its voice echoing in the clearing, granting them the opportunity to prove their purpose. Kaelin took a deep breath, steeling herself as she began to explain their mission. "We're here to stop Dorian and protect the Bloodstone from falling into the wrong hands," she said, her voice clear and unwavering. The Guardian shifted slightly, its head tilting as it listened, intrigued by her words. "We believe that without your guidance, Avalor is in grave danger," she continued, looking directly into the creature's eyes, hoping to convey the urgency of their quest. Finn and the others positioned themselves beside her in a show of solidarity, silently reinforcing her message. The Guardian remained still, but a glimmer of understanding sparked in its gaze, acknowledging their intentions as it contemplated their request. Chapter 8: The Ambush. As the sun dipped below the horizon, casting long shadows across the forest, Kaelin felt the adrenaline thrumming in her veins. They had successfully garnered the support of the Guardian, but urgency pressed upon them. Dorian was still a formidable threat. "Let's move quietly," she instructed, her voice low but firm, as they prepared to set their trap. The group crept through the trees, each member acutely aware of the stakes involved. Finn took point, scanning the area for potential dangers, while Asher lingered behind, the tension between him and Kaelin still palpable. Kaelin focused on the task ahead, determined to push past any lingering doubts among her allies as they prepared for the confrontation they had been gearing up for. Kaelin surveyed the area as they approached Dorian's camp, noting the meandering path that led right through a cluster of trees. "Let's set the traps here and here," she said, pointing to strategic locations that would maximize their chances of catching Dorian off guard. The group quickly got to work, gathering materials from the forest floor. "Make sure to tie it securely. We can't afford any slip-ups," Kaelin reminded Leo, who was busy constructing a snare. He nodded, his determination evident as he followed her instructions closely, reflecting the trust he had in her leadership. As they finished, Kaelin took a moment to steady her breath, catching the anxious expressions of her allies. She understood the weight of their mission, feeling a mix of responsibility and resilience as they prepared to confront the enemy. As dusk settled, the atmosphere thickened with tension. Kaelin gathered her allies together, reviewing their roles one last time. "Leo, you'll be on lookout. Rest of us will get into position," she instructed, her voice steadying the group in the face of uncertainty. Ryan glanced at her, a hint of worry etched across his features. "You know Dorian won't take this lightly. We need to be prepared for anything," he cautioned, his protective instincts surfacing again. Kaelin met his gaze, sensing the weight of his concern. "I won't let us down. We're ready, and we've trained for this," she reassured him, drawing from the confidence built through their shared struggles. Finn stood nearby, fiddling with the triggers of their traps. "3 of us will be enough to handle whatever comes our way," he said, trying to bolster the group's morale. Their discussions sharpened their focus, Kaelin feeling the collaboration strengthen their bond as they prepared for the impending confrontation. As the group prepared to execute their plan, the ambient sounds of the forest seemed to fade, replaced by the pounding of their hearts. Kaelin felt the rush of adrenaline coursing through her, her instincts on high alert. "On my signal, we move," she instructed, her voice a mixture of calm and urgency. Each ally nodded, their eyes sharp and ready, awaiting her cue. Suddenly, the distant sound of footsteps echoed through the trees, sending a ripple of tension among them. Kaelin peered around the area, gauging the distance of the approaching guards, then took a deep breath, steadying her focus. "Now!" she called out, as they sprang into action, trusting their teamwork and the plans they had laid to ensnare Dorian's men. The allies surged forward with Kaelin at the forefront, hearts racing as they charged into the fray. She quickly navigated toward the first guard, her training kicking in as she ducked beneath an incoming swing, her movement fluid and responsive. "Take them by surprise," she shouted, rallying her group as they engaged their opponents. Finn moved deftly beside her, his quick reflexes showing that he had grown beyond his earlier hesitation. Together, they coordinated strikes against the guards, the weight of their teamwork empowering them as they executed the strategic plan Kaelin had laid out. Amidst the chaos, Kaelin focused on the goal, finding Dorian. Each moment felt like a test of their resolve, and she was determined to lead them through the tumult with unwavering confidence. As the skirmish unfolded, Kaelin spotted a familiar figure lurking behind the chaos, Dorian himself, observing the fight with a cruel smirk. "Focus on Dorian," she called out, urging her allies to keep their eyes on the prize. With renewed purpose, she broke away from the fray, racing toward him, dodging blows from the remaining guards. Dorian noticed her advance, and the smile faded from his face, replaced by a cold intensity. "You think you can stop me?" he taunted, drawing his weapon with a flourish. Kaelin's resolve hardened as she faced him. "I know I can," she declared, her pulse quickening as she prepared to confront him directly, fueled by the lessons learned throughout her journey. The confrontation felt electric, setting the stage for the final clash that would determine the fate of Avalor. Chapter 9, The Betrayer's Mark. The battle raged around Kaelin as she faced Dorian, the chaos of combat swirling like a tempest at their backs. Dorian's eyes gleamed with malice as he lunged forward, his weapon flashing in the dim light. Kaelin barely raised her own weapon in time, the impact vibrating through her arms as she deflected his strike. "Did you really think you could take me down?" he taunted, pressing forward with relentless force. Each clash of their blades echoed the stakes at hand, igniting the persistence within her. Kaelin realized this moment defined everything she had worked for, every lesson learned in trust, leadership, and tenacity against adversity. Kaelin sidestepped Dorian's next attack, regaining her footing and assessing the situation around her. The clang of swords and shouts of her allies filled the air, but her focus remained locked on the man before her, the embodiment of everything she fought against. Dorian struck again, his movements relentless and calculated. "You're outmatched, girl," he sneered, confidence radiating from him as he anticipated her every step. In that moment, Kaelin's mind raced with thoughts of her allies and their sacrifices, fueling her determination. With a sudden flash of inspiration, she feigned a retreat, drawing Dorian in closer. As he lunged, she pivoted sharply, using his momentum against him and swiftly aiming a strike at his side, demonstrating growth in her combat skills and strategic thinking. Kaelin's strike connected, forcing Dorian to stagger back in surprise, his smug expression flickering for a moment. Seizing the opportunity, she pressed forward, fueled by adrenaline and the memories of every challenge she had faced. "Your reign of terror ends here," she shouted, determination fueling her every move as she aimed for another blow. But Dorian quickly regained his footing, anger flashing in his eyes. "You think this changes anything?" he growled, lunging for her with renewed ferocity. Around them, the chaos of the battle continued, allies fighting bravely. Yet Kaelin couldn't shake the feeling that each second spent fighting Dorian pulled her further from their original mission. Still, she stood her ground, embodying the strength she had built through her journey, knowing that the outcome was not just about her, but about the safety and future of Avalor. Kaelin dodged Dorian's aggressive thrust, narrowly avoiding the blade as it whizzed past her. In the thick of the fight, she noticed Finn on the periphery, struggling against two mercenaries who were closing in on him. "Finn!" she shouted amidst the clashing sounds, desperation tinged with urgency. Dorian smirked at her distraction, capitalizing on the moment to strike again. "Focus, little girl. You can't protect them all." Despite the taunts, Kaelin's resolve strengthened. She quickly pivoted, throwing a dagger from her belt toward the mercenaries threatening Finn. The blade found its mark, staggering one attacker, allowing Finn to create enough space to counterattack. Kaelin's heart raced, pride swelling within her as she witnessed her allies adapting under pressure. It was a testament to the teamwork they had built, an unspoken trust that propelled them forward, no matter the odds. With a surge of adrenaline, Kaelin redirected her focus back to Dorian, who now seemed more enraged than ever. "You're a nuisance," he growled, lunging forward with renewed fury, determined to overpower her. Kaelin's instincts kicked in as she sidestepped his attack, strategizing her next move. "Then let's see how much of a nuisance I can be," she retorted, her confidence shining through as she launched into a swift counterattack. Their blades clashed fiercely, each strike revealing not just strength but the growth in her combat skills, a culmination of all her experiences. In that moment, Kaelin grasped the reality of her transformation. She was no longer the unsure girl who had stood in her family's shop dreaming of adventure. She was a warrior, ready to face any challenge that came her way. Kaelin felt the clash of their blades resonate through her bones, each strike a testament to her resolve. Dorian pushed her back with a powerful blow, but she regained her balance, refusing to yield. "Why fight for them? They're not worth your time," he spat, trying to sow doubt within her resolve. Kaelin met his glare, a fierce determination lighting her expression. "I fight for Avalor, I fight for their future, and I won't let you destroy that." With renewed strength, she pushed forward, striking with precision and agility as she became more attuned to the rhythm of their battle. Each successful hit she landed fueled her confidence, showcasing how her journey had armed her not just with skill, but with an unyielding commitment to her cause. Chapter 10: The Hidden Cave. Kaelin emerged from the chaos of battle, her breaths heavy and quick as she and her allies regrouped in a hidden clearing outside Dorian's camp. The aftermath surrounded them, fallen debris, remnants of the fight, and a sense of victory tempered with the realization of what lay ahead. Taking a moment to collect herself, Kaelin surveyed the group, noticing the wariness etched on their faces and the injuries they had sustained. "Everyone, we need to assess our situation and plan our next steps," she called out, her voice firm and resolute. She began discussing what they had uncovered about Dorian's plans and the implications for Avalor, determined to maintain focus on their mission. Kaelin's mind raced with thoughts of the journey ahead, knowing that the fight for their home was far from over. Kaelin pulled out the hastily drawn map they had discovered, spreading it across a flat rock as her allies gathered around. "This shows where Dorian plans to move next," she explained, tracing the routes with her finger. "If we can intercept him here, we could gain the upper hand." Finn leaned closer, squinting at the markings. "These annotations suggest he's moving to consolidate power in the southeast," he noted, his brow furrowed in concentration. She nodded, feeling a sense of urgency wash over her. "We need to split into teams. Some of us can set traps while others gather intel from the surrounding areas." Asher chimed in, a hint of skepticism in his tone. "Are we sure we can trust this information? What if it leads us into a trap?" Kaelin's heart raced, but she took a deep breath, grounding herself. "We have to act on what we know. We need to be smart about this, but still move quickly." The gravity of their situation hung in the air, but her determination inspired confidence, solidifying their resolve to see the mission through. Kaelin glanced around at her allies, sensing the weight of uncertainty as they absorbed the information. "Listen, the best way to outmaneuver Dorian is to be one step ahead," she insisted, meeting each of their gazes with unwavering intensity. Ryan leaned forward, a hint of worry crossing his face. "But what if our plan backfires? We need to consider every angle." Kaelin nodded, appreciating his caution but feeling the urgency pressing on them. "I understand the risks, but we can't hesitate. If we wait too long, the opportunity will slip away." Mira, standing off to the side, added softly, "What if we included scouting parties to gather information before committing to a full attack? It could give us more insight." Kaelin pondered this suggestion for a moment, recognizing the wisdom in it. "That's a solid idea. We'll split into smaller teams to gather intel and assess Dorian's movements before executing our plan." With renewed clarity, Kaelin felt the confidence welling up inside her, ready to lead her allies through the challenges ahead. As Kaelin organized the teams, she felt a surge of purpose radiate through her. "Ryan, you take a team to the east and look for any signs of Dorian's presence," she directed, watching him nod with determination. "Finn, you and Mira will head to the south to scout the back paths. Keep your eyes peeled for anything suspicious." The group started moving, adrenaline mixing with anticipation as her allies prepared for their respective tasks. "Remember to stay in contact," Kaelin reminded them, her voice steady and commanding, reinforcing the foundation of trust they had built. As they dispersed, she felt the weight of leadership settle comfortably on her shoulders, an indication of the growth she had undergone since the beginning of their journey. Kaelin took a deep breath, ready to face whatever challenges awaited as they moved forward in unison towards their common goal. With the teams dispatched, Kaelin took a moment to gather her thoughts, tuning in to the sounds of the forest around her. The rustling leaves and distant bird calls seemed to echo her anticipation. As she paced back and forth, she reviewed the strategy she had outlined, mentally preparing for every possibility that might arise. "Okay, stay focused," she murmured to herself, feeling the familiar surge of determination rise within her. She knew that having a solid plan was crucial, but as she glanced toward the paths where her allies had disappeared, she couldn't shake the feeling of uncertainty about what lay ahead. Determined to uphold her commitment, Kaelin adjusted her grip on her weapon, ready to face any obstacles that their journey might bring. As Kaelin waited for her allies to return, she took the opportunity to familiarize herself further with the surrounding area. She wandered through the dense underbrush, examining the plants and learning their properties, mentally noting which could be useful in their plans. Every step she took felt purposeful, deepening her connection to the land and reinforcing her resolve to protect it. Suddenly, the sound of rustling leaves caught her attention, and her heart raced as she turned to see Leo and Finn emerging from the shadows. "Did you find anything?" she asked eagerly, hoping for significant intelligence that would help guide their next steps. Finn stepped forward, excitement glinting in his eyes. "We did. There are signs that Dorian's forces are moving, but we have a chance to cut them off." Kaelin's heart soared as she felt the momentum shift back in their favor, drawn in by the promise of action and the thrill of the incoming challenge. Chapter 11, Engaging Allies. Kaelin and her allies gathered in the woods near a clearing as they discussed their next move, the atmosphere charged with a mix of anticipation and anxiety. "All right, everyone, listen up," she called, her voice cutting through the murmurs. "We need to strike at the heart of Dorian's operations while we still have the upper hand. We don't fully know how many men he has, so we need to be strategic." Hands shifted, eyes darting, and Kaelin could feel the weight of her leadership settle on her. As they began assigning roles, Kaelin positioned herself toward the forefront, eager to join the action rather than stay back. "We can't do this without teamwork. Finn, you're with me on scouting ahead. The rest of you need to prepare for the diversion," she breathed, her resolve strengthening as her allies nodded in agreement. The camaraderie showcased their unity, each member understanding the stakes involved, creating a bond that would carry them into battle. Kaelin felt the thrill of the plan coursing through her as she and Finn prepared to scout ahead, their roles clear in her mind. "Let's move quickly," she whispered, stealing glances at the others as they gathered supplies and made adjustments to their equipment. She glanced around at the gathering shadows, acutely aware that the longer they waited, the more Dorian's forces could regroup. Finn kept pace beside her, his expression filled with determination. "What do we do if we come across any guards?" he asked, his voice low as they maneuvered through the underbrush. "Use stealth. If we can get past unnoticed, we'll have the advantage," Kaelin replied, focusing on their surroundings while maintaining a forward momentum. The forest felt alive around them as they crept forward, each step taking them deeper into unknown territory, and Kaelin's confidence grew as she embraced the weight of their mission. As Kaelin and Finn approached the perimeter of Dorian's camp, they crouched low behind a cluster of bushes, peering through the foliage at the guards patrolling the area. The sight caused Kaelin's heart to race, her mind working rapidly to devise a plan. "Look, there are fewer guards on the far side. If we slip past, we might get a closer look at their setup," she whispered, pointing to the sparsely guarded section of the camp. Finn nodded, his eyes scanning the activity. Then he added, "But we need to be careful. One misstep, and we could be caught." Kaelin felt the pressure of their mission weighing heavily, pushing her to stay focused. "I know the risks, but if we can gather intel now, we'll have a better shot at stopping Dorian," she reassured him, determination steeping in her voice. Their shared goal solidified their bond, moving them forward with quiet diligence, each aware that the stakes had never been higher. Crouched low, Kaelin felt her heart thundering in her chest as she and Finn prepared to move. "On the count of 3, we go," she whispered, glancing at him for confirmation. Finn nodded, his expression serious as he tightened his grip on his weapon. 1, 2, 3. They darted forward, slipping into the shadow of a nearby stack of crates, breathing heavily as they crept closer to the entrance of the main tent. The guards were too focused on their chatter to notice them, giving Kaelin a fleeting sense of relief, but she knew they couldn't let their guards down. "Let's get to that gap in the back," she directed, pointing toward a space where the tent fabric rippled in the wind, indicating an opportunity to slip inside unnoticed. As they reached the back of the tent, Kaelin crouched low and lifted the edge of the fabric, peering inside. Her heart raced with anticipation as she scanned the interior, spotting stacks of supplies and a table littered with maps and documents. "Got it," she whispered, her eyes gleaming with determination. "This is exactly what we need." Finn joined her, glancing cautiously around the perimeter, ready to alert her if the guards were to turn their way. "Let's make this quick," he urged, his tone urgent but steady, reflecting their shared understanding of the stakes. Kaelin nodded and prompted him, "Help me with these maps. We should find any information about Dorian's next moves." Kaelin and Finn hurriedly sorted through the maps scattered across the table, their hearts pounding as the sound of nearby guards echoed outside. "Here," Finn called, his finger landing on a map detailing troop movements and supply routes. "This could give us leverage." Kaelin leaned closer, her eyes scanning the markings and the notations that hinted at Dorian's plans. "Let's take it all," she said decisively, gathering the important documents with urgency. Just then, a loud shout from outside sent a jolt of fear through them. "Someone's coming," Kaelin hissed, adrenaline surging as they swiftly packed the maps and hidden treasures, knowing they needed to escape before their luck ran out. Chapter 12, Secrets Within. As Kaelin and Finn slipped out of the tent, the urgency of their situation intensified. The sounds of shouting guards filled the air, and their hearts raced as they maneuvered through the dark shadows of the camp. Kaelin's mind buzzed with the gravity of their discovery. They had crucial information that could turn the tide against Dorian. "Which way?" Finn whispered urgently, scanning the pathway ahead for any signs of danger. Kaelin hesitated for a brief moment, recalling the layout they had studied. "If we head toward the east side, we can avoid the main patrols and reach the forest," she decided, her voice steady despite the chaos behind them. They pressed forward, the adrenaline fueling their movements as they navigated the obstacles, determined to escape undetected and bring their findings back to the others. As they darted between the tents, Kaelin felt a surge of determination, constantly scanning for any guards who might spot them. "Stay low and quiet," she urged, her voice barely a whisper. Finn nodded, his eyes wide with anticipation, and they pressed onward, mindful of every sound around them. Suddenly, the crunch of footsteps echoed to their left, closer than they anticipated. Kaelin froze, her heart pounding in her chest as she glanced at Finn, who held his breath, tense and alert. "Quick, behind those crates," she instructed, leading them to a cluster of supplies that offered cover and a moment to regroup. Crouched behind the crates, Kaelin could hear the guards approaching, their voices harsh and urgent as they searched the camp. "Spread out. They can't have gone far," one guard barked, a command that sent a chill down her spine. Kaelin exchanged a nervous glance with Finn, who was clearly straining to maintain his composure in the face of danger. "Just wait a few seconds, then we can make a break for it," she whispered, her heart racing as she listened intently to the guards' movements. Finn nodded, but his eyes betrayed a growing fear that their plan would fall apart. Kaelin reached out and squeezed his shoulder reassuringly, silently promising him they would make it through this together, no matter what. As the footsteps drew closer, Kaelin felt a sense of urgency wash over her. The guards were almost upon them now, their voices growing louder and more frantic. "Over here! I saw something move!" one shouted, and Kaelin's heart raced, adrenaline spiking as if sensing the peril of their position. "Now!" she whispered sharply to Finn, pushing herself to her feet and signaling for him to follow. They darted from behind the crates, weaving through the maze of tents as the guards swarmed toward the sound of her movement. Kaelin focused on managing her fear while keeping her pace steady, determined to reach the safety of the nearby woods before the chaos closed in around them. Kaelin and Finn navigated through the tents, the air thick with the scent of smoke and the chaos of their narrow escape. As they reached the edge of the camp, Kaelin glanced back just in time to see a group of guards pouring out from behind the tents, eyes wild with intent. "Keep moving," she urged, adrenaline propelling them forward as they sprinted toward the tree line, the safety of the forest just ahead. The sound of shouting men echoed behind them, and Kaelin felt the weight of their mission pressing down heavily. With every step, she pushed through the pain of doubt, the urgency to protect her allies clawing at her mind. Finally crossing into the shelter of the trees, Kaelin skidded to a halt, breath hitching as they paused to catch their breath, hearts racing with the thrill of survival and the lingering sense of danger still lurking nearby. While they rested against the sturdy trunk of a tree, Kaelin's mind raced, trying to process the chaos they had just escaped. "We made it," Finn gasped, his chest heaving, relief flooding his voice as he leaned back, taking a moment to regain his composure. Kaelin nodded, feeling the adrenaline still coursing through her veins as joy and fear intertwined. "But that was too close," she admitted, glancing back toward the distant camp, where the sounds of commotion were still palpable. The reality of their situation weighed heavily on her, and she knew they couldn't afford to lose focus now. "We need to regroup and rethink our approach," she said, determination hardening in her voice. Finn nodded, yet Kaelin could see the lingering fear behind his eyes. "What if they come after us?" he asked, his earlier confidence wavering. Kaelin placed a reassuring hand on his shoulder. "Then we'll be ready. We've already adapted once, we can do it again." This moment of clarity only strengthened her resolve, solidifying her growth in the face of adversity as they prepared to face whatever challenges lay ahead. Chapter 13, The Ambush. With the ambush behind them, Kaelin and Finn gathered their allies under the protective cover of the trees, ready to strategize their next steps. "I think we need to take a moment and really reevaluate our approach," Kaelin said, her voice steady, signaling the importance of their next moves. Her allies exchanged looks, the fatigue and tension from the previous chaos etched on their faces. Finn chimed in. "We can't rush into another trap. We need to ensure we have a clear plan to move forward." Kaelin nodded, feeling the weight of leadership heavily on her shoulders as she considered his words. "Let's use the information we gathered from the camp to guide us. We need to find allies who will join us in this fight," she suggested, determination fueling her conviction. With her allies focused and engaged, she felt a surge of confidence, knowing that together they could adapt and overcome whatever challenges awaited them. Kaelin unfurled the maps they had taken from Dorian's camp, spreading them out on the ground as her allies gathered around. "Here," she pointed to various markings, her finger tracing the routes and locations. "If we can establish connections with nearby villages, we can gain more support." Her allies leaned in, absorbing the details and possibilities laid before them. "I've heard whispers about a small outpost to the west that might be willing to help," Mira suggested, excitement lacing her voice as she indicated the area on the map. Kaelin nodded, feeling a surge of hope at the prospect of expanding their network. "We can send a team to reach out, but we need to act fast before Dorian can regroup." As they discussed possible routes and strategies, Kaelin felt the camaraderie strengthen among them, the weight of their mission binding the group closer together. With a clear goal in mind and the determination to see it through, Kaelin's confidence surged, ready to lead her allies into the next phase of their adventure. As plans were being finalized, Leo spoke up, a note of concern in his voice. "What if we're spread too thin? It's risky to send teams out this far into enemy territory." Kaelin turned to him, recognizing the validity of his worries. "I understand your fear, but if we don't take these risks, we'll never build the alliances we need." She paused, scanning the faces of her allies, noting the mix of determination and apprehension. Ryan chimed in, his tone thoughtful. "Maybe we could send smaller groups. That way, if something goes wrong, it's not a total loss." Kaelin felt a slight relief at the suggestion, appreciating the collaboration. "That's a good idea. We can maintain a tighter grip on the situation while still moving forward." The dynamics shifted as everyone began to see the merits of pooling their ideas together, strengthening their united front against Dorian. Kaelin's heart swelled with pride, recognizing that their shared resolve made them a formidable team prepared to face whatever challenges awaited. With the plan solidified, Kaelin felt the anticipation build as they prepared to set their teams in motion. "Let's gather our supplies and get ready to move," she instructed, her voice carrying a sense of urgency. The group busied themselves, checking their gear and gathering the essentials. Mira approached Kaelin, her expression thoughtful. "I believe in what you're doing, Kaelin. It's inspiring to see you step up like this." Kaelin felt warmth spread through her at Mira's words, but also a flicker of doubt. "I just hope it's enough," she admitted quietly, the weight of responsibility settling on her shoulders again. With a reassuring smile, Mira squeezed her shoulder. "You're leading us in the right direction. We have each other's backs." Encouraged by her allies' support, Kaelin took a deep breath, steeling herself for the challenges ahead as she embraced her evolving role within the group. Once the teams were ready, Kaelin took a moment to gather her thoughts, mentally preparing for the task ahead. "Let's meet back here in 3 days, regardless of what happens," she said, her voice firm and steady, emphasizing the importance of their return. As her allies nodded in agreement, a sense of camaraderie enveloped them, fusing their individual purposes into a collective goal. Finn stepped forward, a determined look in his eyes. "We have your back, Kaelin. We're in this together," he assured her, reinforcing the bond they had forged throughout their journey. Kaelin felt a swell of pride and warmth, realizing they had come a long way from their early days as mere acquaintances. "Let's make this count," she replied, infused with renewed conviction, knowing that every moment spent pursuing their mission brought them closer to the future they envisioned for Avalor. With the final instructions given, Kaelin watched her allies disperse, each stepping into their respective roles with a sense of purpose. She took a deep breath, feeling the significance of this moment settle around her like a cloak. The forest loomed before her, filled with possibility and danger, and she felt a rush of emotion, knowing she was at the helm of something greater than herself. As she walked toward the path leading out of the clearing, Kaelin turned back for a moment, letting her gaze linger on her friends, each one a vital part of their shared journey. "Stay safe," she whispered to herself, determination swelling within her to not just protect them, but to lead them to victory. With her heart set on the mission ahead, Kaelin stepped forward, ready to embrace whatever came next, confident in the knowledge that they were in this together. Chapter 14, The Hidden Truth. Kaelin stood at the entrance of the Elders' Council chamber, her heart thumping in her chest. The heavy wooden doors creaked open, revealing a dimly lit room filled with wise, aged figures, their expressions unreadable as they regarded her with curiosity. She felt the weight of her mission pressing upon her shoulders as she stepped inside, determined to present the urgency of their situation. "Elders, I'm here to seek your guidance and support," Kaelin said, her voice resonating in the vast space. As she spoke, she could feel the eyes of the council members assessing her, and the gravity of her words hung in the air. "I have information about Dorian's plans and the threat he poses to Avalor. We need your wisdom and assistance to protect our home," she continued, every syllable fueled by her conviction. The elders listened intently, their faces a mix of skepticism and curiosity. Kaelin could sense the air thickening with apprehension as she continued, detailing the plot she had overheard and the implications for Avalor's safety. "Dorian plans to use the Bloodstone to consolidate his power," she asserted, emphasizing the urgency of their need for action. The head elder, her silver hair cascading down her shoulders, leaned forward, her piercing gaze locked onto Kaelin. "And you believe we should intervene?" she asked, her voice steady but probing. "Yes," Kaelin replied firmly. "With your wisdom and resources, we can gather allies and prepare for what's to come." The murmurs among the elders grew, and Kaelin held her breath, awaiting their response, knowing the future of Avalor depended on her ability to inspire trust and rally them to her cause. The head elder exchanged glances with her fellow council members, a silent conversation passing among them before she returned her attention to Kaelin. "Your passionate conviction is commendable, but you must understand the risks involved in confronting Dorian," she warned, her tone grave. Kaelin felt the weight of their scrutiny, aware of the magnitude of her request. "I know the risks, but the consequences of inaction are far greater," she replied, steadying her voice. Another elder, his brow furrowed, chimed in, "And how can we trust that you and your allies can carry out such a demanding undertaking?" The doubt in their eyes sparked a defensive fire within Kaelin. "We've already faced Dorian's forces and survived. Together, we can do it again if we combine our strengths," she asserted, the urgency of her mission guiding her words. As the elders considered her proposition, Kaelin sensed both the challenge and the possibility of forging a powerful alliance that could change the fate of Avalor. After a moment of deliberation, the head elder finally spoke, her tone softer. "Let us consider your proposal. If we choose to aid you, we must ensure our resources are not wasted." Kaelin felt a flicker of hope at the elder's words, sensing a shift in their willingness to support her cause. "Thank you. I won't let you down," she replied earnestly, her emotions welling up as the gravity of the moment settled around her. Another elder, a sharp-eyed woman, added, "We will gather our best scouts and prepare for a discussion with the leaders of neighboring villages. But remember, your leadership will be tested." Kaelin nodded, feeling the weight of the responsibilities again, but emboldened by their support. "I'm ready for that challenge, and I will do everything I can to unite our forces," she promised, determination surging within her. This beginning of cooperation sparked a fire within her, igniting ambitions beyond just stopping Dorian. It was about securing peace for Avalor and fostering alliances that would endure. With the elders' agreement to support her cause, Kaelin felt a wave of responsibility wash over her, but also a surge of hope. "Let's set a timeline for our next steps," she suggested, her voice steady as the gravity of their challenges lay ahead. The elders nodded, accepting her initiative. "We can convene in 3 days to assess our progress and solidify our plans," the head elder stated, her expression focused. Kaelin mentally prepared for the tasks ahead, feeling the excitement of what their collaboration could achieve if they harnessed their collective strengths effectively. As the meeting adjourned, she could see the spark of determination igniting in the faces of her allies, realizing that they all shared a common goal that united them. "Thank you for believing in this cause," Kaelin said earnestly to the elders, the significance of their alliance resonating deeply within her. As Kaelin stepped out of the elders' chamber, the weight of their conversation lingered in her heart. She felt a newfound sense of purpose, each step resonating with the promise of change she had always longed for. The sun was shining brightly overhead as she made her way back to the marketplace, locals bustling about, their voices a comforting backdrop to her thoughts. Kaelin's allies awaited her return, curiosity etched on their faces. "What did they say?" Leo asked, his eyes eager for news. "They're on board. We'll have their support," she declared, her voice brimming with determination. The collective relief that washed over her allies encouraged Kaelin. She knew that their unity was the key to facing the challenges ahead, a powerful reminder of the strength they would need to protect Avalor. Chapter 15, The Face of Evil. In the days that followed, Kaelin and her allies gathered to prepare for their impending confrontation with Dorian. The air was thick with anticipation, the buzz of activity reverberating through the marketplace as they organized supplies, armed themselves, and strategized their approach. Kaelin moved through the crowd with purpose, her focus clear, delegating tasks and ensuring everyone understood their roles. "Ryan, you and Mira handle the logistics of the supplies. I need you to ensure we have everything for the journey ahead," she instructed, drawing on their strengths to maintain efficient coordination. They worked seamlessly together, a newfound trust evident in their exchanges as Asher contributed ideas about securing the perimeter and potential escape routes. With each passing moment, Kaelin felt her confidence build, the weight of her responsibilities reinforced by the collective resolve of her allies, ready to face whatever challenges awaited them. Kaelin gathered the assembled group in the center of the marketplace, her heart pounding with anticipation as she prepared to lay out their final plan. "All right, everyone, listen up," she began, her voice cutting through the murmurs. "We'll divide into teams. Finn, you'll lead the scouting team to gather intel on Dorian's whereabouts. Leo, you and Ryan will focus on ensuring our supplies are secure, she clarified, assigning roles with confidence. The group nodded, their faces a mix of determination and apprehension, but Kaelin could sense the shared purpose binding them together. Just as she was about to continue, Asher raised his hand, his expression serious. What if we come across resistance? We can't afford to lose more of us. Kaelin met his gaze, understanding the weight of his words. If we encounter any trouble, we regroup and adapt our plan. We've trained for this and we're stronger together, she assured him, her words infused with the resolve she felt deep within. Their energy shifted, reinforced by her leadership as they prepared for the critical mission ahead, ready to face whatever challenges lay in waiting. As the preparations continued, Kaelin could feel the energy in the air shift, a mixture of anticipation and anxiety weaving through the group. With each task being executed, she took a moment to check in with her allies, ensuring everyone felt prepared. Leo, how are the supplies coming along? She asked, watching him organize their gear with quick, efficient movements. All set, as long as we don't run into any surprises, he replied, a hint of concern lacing his voice as he met her gaze. Kaelin nodded, appreciating his attention to detail while sensing the tension that lingered in the back of their minds. Just remember, we anticipate surprises. We've trained for this, she reminded them both, her determination shining through. As they regrouped for the impending mission, Kaelin's confidence swelled. Each challenge they had faced together brought them closer, reinforcing her awareness of the importance of unity as they prepared for the battle ahead. As Kaelin finalized the details of their mission, she could see the mix of excitement and hesitation on her allies' faces. Remember, trust each other and communicate. We'll rely on each person's strength today, she emphasized, her voice steady as she looked around the group, making eye contact with each member. Finn stepped forward, his brow furrowed. Kaelin, what if things don't go as planned? We need to be prepared for anything. Kaelin felt a ripple of doubt creep in, but pushed it aside, meeting his gaze with confidence. We adapt. We've encountered unexpected challenges before, and we've made it through because we work together. She felt their renewed focus as her words settled in, each ally nodding in agreement as their determination sparked brighter. With one last glance at her friends, Kaelin took a deep breath, feeling the weight of their mission settle around her. She was ready to face whatever came next, drawing strength from the commitment that had brought them all together. As they prepared to set out, Kaelin took a moment to look each of her allies in the eye, feeling the gravity of the impending mission. Let's do this for Avalor, she said, raising her voice to instill confidence. Her declaration resonated within the group, and the palpable energy shifted as determination ignited among them. Stay sharp, follow the plan, and we'll succeed, she continued, emphasizing the need for unity and vigilance. Leo nodded, his earlier anxiety appearing to dissolve as he tightened the straps of his pack. I'm ready to make this count, he stated, a new light of resolve in his eyes. Kaelin smiled, feeling the collective energy of her team. The bond they had forged through shared experiences was now their greatest asset. With her heart full of determination and hope, Kaelin led the way, ready to take on whatever challenges awaited them on their quest. As they moved through the trees, a sense of purpose filled the air, each step pulling them closer to their mission. Kaelin led the way, her mind racing with strategies and contingencies, knowing they needed to combat any surprises Dorian might have in store. With the sounds of the forest surrounding them, she could feel the energy of her allies behind her, each member committed and ready for action. Suddenly, they heard a rustle ahead, and Kaelin held up a hand, signaling for silence. Stay alert, she whispered, instinctively drawing her weapon as they crept closer to investigate the source of the sound. Her heart pounded with anticipation, the memory of past challenges fueling her confidence as she prepared for whatever lay ahead. Chapter 16, The Weight of Loss. As Kaelin and her allies cautiously approached the ridge overlooking Dorian's camp, a sense of dread settled over her. Glancing down, she noticed an unusual commotion, guards moving in hurried, frantic patterns that indicated something was off. Something's not right, she murmured, feeling the hairs on the back of her neck stand on end. Just as she began to formulate a new plan, a sudden shout erupted from the camp, echoing through the trees. "What's happening?" Leo asked, anxiety creeping into his voice as their group halted, hearts racing. Kaelin's stomach dropped as she realized their careful approach had been compromised. They had unknowingly walked into a trap. Realizing the imminent threat, Kaelin quickly gathered her allies in a huddle, urgency coursing through her veins. "We need to get out of here. Now!" she urged, her voice sharp and commanding. Without hesitation, she began to map out an escape route in her mind, thinking quickly as adrenaline surged. "Finn, you take the lead. Find us a safe way back to cover," she instructed, her confidence carrying through the tension. The others moved as she directed, but Kaelin could feel the weight of the situation, fear and doubt creeping into their minds as the commotion grew louder behind them. Determined to prevent panic from taking hold, she rallied them, saying, "We've overcome worse together. Trust in each other." She hoped her words would inspire unity as they executed their retreat. As they dashed through the trees, Kaelin could hear the guards' voices grow louder, their pursuit gaining momentum. "Leo, keep an eye on our back," she shouted, pushing herself to sprint faster. Finn led them through the underbrush, expertly guiding the group while constantly scanning for threats. In the chaos, Kaelin noticed that Ryan lagged a few paces behind, his face strained with effort and determination. "We can't split up," she called out to him, urgency tightening her chest. "Stay close." With a renewed burst of energy, she quickened her pace, reaching back to grab Ryan's arm and pull him forward, signaling that they would face whatever challenge up ahead together. The forest became a blur as they dashed through the underbrush, branches whipping against their faces. Kaelin's mind raced, strategizing their escape while pushing through the adrenaline coursing through her veins. "We need to divert them," she called out to Finn, who was leading the way. "If we can create a distraction, it might buy us time." Finn nodded, understanding her urgency. "I can make a noise further down the path," he replied, determination igniting in his eyes. Just as they rounded a bend, a mercenary's voice shouted behind them, growing closer, and panic threatened to surge within the group. Kaelin squeezed Ryan's hand reassuringly. "We can do this. Trust each other. Don't look back," she urged, her resolve not wavering as they focused on their escape. As they pushed deeper into the shelter of the trees, Kaelin realized they needed to act fast. "Finn, go for it," she urged, glancing back to see how far the mercenaries had come. Without hesitation, Finn darted off to create the diversion, the commitment in his movements reflecting the bond they had cultivated through their trials. Kaelin turned to the rest of the group. "We need to stay low and move quickly. Follow my lead." She felt the adrenaline surge again, a familiar drive guiding her as they navigated through the foliage, staying out of sight. A loud crash resonated from Finn's direction as he executed the diversion, breaking branches and sending a cascade of sounds into the air. A perfect distraction as the mercenaries turned their attention from the fleeing group. With the mercenaries diverted, Kaelin felt a surge of hope as they continued to weave through the underbrush. "Keep moving," she urged, leading her group further away from the chaos behind them. They pushed onward, the sounds of the forest becoming a backdrop to their escape as she scanned for any signs of danger. Suddenly, she could hear the distant shouts of the guards, confusion evident in their voices as they scrambled to understand the sudden commotion. Kaelin's heart pounded, adrenaline fueling her every step as they carved a path through the trees. "Let's regroup at the clearing," she shouted, her leadership asserting itself as they raced toward safety, ready to confront whatever challenges lay ahead. Chapter 17, The Betrayer's Mark. Once safe in the clearing, Kaelin gathered her allies, the adrenaline from their escape still pulsing through her veins. But as she looked around, she could sense an undercurrent of tension permeating the group. "All right, we need to talk about what just happened," she said, her tone serious. Asher crossed his arms defensively, a scowl on his face. "That was too close. This mission is getting out of hand." Kaelin felt her heart sink at his words, frustration bubbling up. "We made it out. What matters is that we're still here, together." "Barely," he shot back, his voice full of doubt, challenging her approach as the others began to murmur their concerns. Kaelin swallowed hard, realizing the fragility of their morale as she prepared to address the growing conflict among them. Kaelin stood her ground, feeling the tension in the air as every eye turned to her. "We can't let fear dictate our actions," she stated firmly, her voice cutting through the doubts swirling around them. "If we throw in the towel now, everything we've done will have been for nothing," she continued, trying to ignite a sense of purpose within the group. Leo stepped forward, his brow furrowed in thought. "But we need to be smart, too. We can't just rush in blindly." Kaelin nodded, appreciating his insight while sensing the weight of their decisions. "I agree, but we have the chance to gather intel and disrupt Dorian's plans. It's a risk worth taking." Asher remained unconvinced, shaking his head. "And what if we fail? We could lose everything." Her heart raced at his resistance, but Kaelin knew that the only way forward was to solidify their trust and unity. "I understand your fears, but we've worked too hard to let this chance slip away." Kaelin felt the tension settle heavily in the air as she addressed the group, trying to inspire a sense of unity. "Remember why we started this journey," she urged, her hands gesturing passionately. "It's for Avalor and for the future we believe we can create." Finn nodded, glancing at Asher before speaking. "I trust you, Kaelin. We've faced too much to turn back now." Asher hesitated, still uncertain, but the supportive murmurs from others began to build, reinforcing Kaelin's conviction. "Fine," he conceded, his expression softening slightly. "But we have to be smart about it. We can't lose anyone else." Kaelin felt a relief wash over her. The cracks in their unity began to mend. "We won't. We'll take calculated steps and ensure everyone is on the same page." Her determined spirit radiated from her as she recognized the power of collaboration, the dynamic shifting as they rallied around her vision. Kaelin gathered her allies, preparing to set the plan into motion. "Ryan, I want you to coordinate with the scouts and gather any last-minute intel we can use," she instructed, feeling the weight of leadership on her shoulders. He nodded, the hint of determination resurfacing as he gathered a few trusted companions. "I won't let you down," he promised, showing his commitment to the mission ahead. The group's eyes rested on Kaelin, filled with renewed hope and anticipation as they saw her confidence blossom under pressure. "Let's move quickly," she continued, pushing aside lingering doubts in the atmosphere. "Our window of opportunity is closing." As she watched her allies disperse, each one stepping into their assigned roles with purpose, Kaelin felt the sense of unity they had forged. This moment felt transformative. She had learned to lead decisively, prepared to face their next challenges together with strength and cohesion. As Kaelin turned to follow her allies, an unexpected shadow flickered at the edge of her vision, sending her instincts into overdrive. "Wait," she called, halting the group just as they reached the tree line. Finn looked back, concern etched on his face. "What is it?" Kaelin strained to listen, the rush of the wind mingling with the distant sounds of rustling leaves. "I thought I heard something," she replied, adrenaline surging through her veins. The group fell silent, tension hanging in the air as they waited for her next command. Taking a deep breath, Kaelin focused on the sounds of the forest, relying on her instincts to guide her. "We should move carefully. Stay alert," she instructed, her earlier confidence tempered by the realization that dangers still lurked unseen. With resolve, she surged forward again, leading her allies through the uncertainty, ready to face whatever awaited them in the depths of the woods. As they resumed their trek, Kaelin couldn't shake the feeling of being watched, her senses heightened by the dense silence surrounding them. Suddenly, a rustle came from a bush nearby, and her heart jolted in her chest. "Get ready," she whispered urgently, bringing her weapon to the forefront as she braced for whatever might emerge. Finn moved closer, his eyes darting toward the sound, and the tension in the group escalated. At that moment, a dark figure leaped from the bushes, a wild-eyed wolf standing its ground, growling as it measured the threat before it. Kaelin instinctively took a step back, feeling the pulse of her fear, but simultaneously her resolve surged. "We don't want trouble," she said, carefully lowering her weapon and trying to show the creature they meant no harm. Chapter 18, The Confrontation. Kaelin stood at the front of her assembled allies, her heart racing as the moment she had prepared for was finally upon them. "Today we confront Dorian," she declared, her voice echoing with determination as she scanned the faces of her friends, each one mirroring a mixture of resolve and apprehension. With a deep breath, she continued, "We've trained for this, and we know the stakes. Our mission is clear." The others nodded, their expressions shifting from uncertainty to a fierce readiness, ignited by Kaelin's leadership. As they readied their weapons and packed the last of their supplies, the air crackled with anticipation, each ally aware of the challenge ahead. Kaelin felt the weight of their collective energy surge through her, a powerful reminder of how far they had come together as they prepared to stand against the darkness threatening Avalor. Kaelin led the charge as they moved swiftly through the shadows toward Dorian's camp, her heart pounding with a mix of anticipation and determination. Every sense was heightened, the night air thick with tension and the scent of damp earth filling her lungs. "Stay close and follow my lead," she whispered, her voice steady as they approached the outskirts of the camp. The flickering light of campfires cast long shadows, creating fleeting silhouettes of figures moving about. Unaware of the storm approaching them, Kaelin signaled for the group to halt, crouching low to survey the movements of the guards. "Now is our chance," she said, feeling a surge of adrenaline as she prepared to execute their carefully laid plan, knowing that the success of their mission relied on their ability to act decisively. As they crouched in the brush, Kaelin noticed a cluster of mercenaries lounging around a fire, their laughter cutting through the tension in the air. "This is the right moment," she whispered to Finn, who nodded, eyes narrowed in focus. They could hear snippets of conversation, snide remarks about their loyalty, and plans that reinforced Dorian's sinister intent. Kaelin felt a surge of anger, but knew they had to remain calm and strategic. "We'll wait until they're distracted, and then we move in," she instructed, strategizing each move carefully in her mind. Leo, losing patience, whispered, "What if we wait too long? We could lose our chance." "Patience is key," Kaelin replied, locking eyes with him, her resolve unwavering. "We need to capitalize on this opportunity if we want to make an impact." At that moment, her commitment to the mission solidified, reaffirming her transformation into a leader who embraced the complexities of their fight against Dorian. As laughter erupted from the mercenaries, Kaelin felt the adrenaline surge within her. "Now!" she whispered fiercely, signaling her allies to move. They sprang into action, darting from their hiding spots with a sense of urgency. Kaelin led the charge, her heart pounding as she focused on the goal ahead. In the chaos, she spotted Dorian speaking with his lieutenants near a large tent, the flickering firelight illuminating his smug expression. "Get to Dorian," she shouted to her team, the urgency in her voice propelling them forward despite the risk. Kaelin's instinct to confront him directly showcased her growth, the earlier hesitations from her past slipping away in the face of their shared mission to protect Avalor. Kaelin charged forward, determination fueling her movements as she neared Dorian. The air crackled with tension as she closed the distance, her heart racing with a mix of ambition and fear. "Dorian," she called out, her voice cutting through the murmur of his men. His head snapped around, surprise flashing across his features before it hardened into a sneer. Well, if it isn't the little gem seeker, what do you think you're doing?" Kaelin squared her shoulders, refusing to let his taunts shake her. "I'm here to stop you," she declared, her voice steady, emboldened by the allies approaching behind her. The confrontation felt electric as she prepared for whatever might come next, ready to face him with everything she had learned along the way. Dorian's laughter echoed through the camp as he adjusted his stance, brandishing his weapon with a threatening flourish. "After everything you've been through, you still think you can stop me?" he taunted, taking a step closer, eyes glinting with menace. Kaelin felt her resolve strengthen, emboldened by the presence of her allies who flanked her, ready for action. "This time you're outnumbered," she declared, her voice resolute as she prepared herself for the fight ahead. With a fierce shout, her allies moved to engage, and the battle erupted around them, chaos exploding as both sides clashed with fury. Amidst the chaos, Kaelin fought with a newfound confidence, her heart aligning with her purpose, ready to confront whatever threats Dorian would unleash. Chapter 19. a dangerous choice. The battle escalated around Kaelin, chaotic and fierce as shouts filled the air and swords clashed. In the midst of the fray, she felt the urgency of her mission pressing down heavier than ever. "Rally together," she called out to her allies, striving to keep their focus amid the chaos. She moved smoothly through the fray, ducking and weaving, her training manifesting as she countered a mercenary's attack with a precise thrust. Her heart raced, adrenaline flowing as she fought, maintaining her focus on their goal, reaching Dorian. Kaelin knew that each moment counted, and with the stakes high, she tightened her grip on her weapon, prepared to face whatever came next with unwavering determination. As Kaelin pressed forward through the chaos, she noticed the mercenaries faltering, their formation breaking in response to her allies' coordinated attacks. "Keep pushing, we can break through," she shouted, feeling the pulse of determination surge through her as she encouraged her companions. Just ahead, Dorian was bellowing orders, trying to regain control of the situation, his frustration palpable. Kaelin locked eyes on him, her focus sharpening at the sight of his anger. This was her moment. With each step closer, she felt the weight of the stakes pressing upon her, but also the strength that came from the support of her allies rallying behind her. Drawing on her training and innate instincts, she steeled herself for the confrontation, ready to confront the threats that had plagued her home for far too long. As Kaelin charged forward, she called out to her allies, urging them to flank Dorian's position. "Target the guards first. We can't let them regroup." The sound of steel clashing filled the air as they followed her command, moving in synchrony, fueled by adrenaline and the urgency of their mission. Just then, Dorian turned, finally noticing her advance, an expectant grin stretching across his face. "Ah, the brave little gem seeker. You're just in time to watch your friends fall," he sneered, his confidence a sharp edge that sent a chill down her spine. But Kaelin pushed the fear aside, focusing on the teamwork unfolding around her, each ally playing their part in the chaotic ballet of combat. Kaelin's heart raced as she closed the distance to Dorian, dodging blows from his guards with agility. "Is that all you've got?" she taunted, summoning her courage as she maneuvered around a pair of mercenaries blocking her path. Dorian's face twisted in anger at her rebuttal, the tension escalating with every second that passed. "Enough games," he shouted, lunging at her with fierce intent, determined to intimidate her into submission. Kaelin ducked just in time, feeling the rush of air as his blades sliced past her. With adrenaline coursing through her, she redirected her focus, exploiting the opening his attack created, her instincts sharpened by the challenges she had faced in their journey. Kaelin pivoted swiftly, using Dorian's momentum against him as she countered with a strike of her own. "Your time is up, Dorian," she declared, each word fueled by the empowerment she felt from the allies fighting beside her. In the heat of their battle, they could see the mercenaries beginning to falter, struggling to maintain their chaotic formation. Recognizing an opportunity, she shouted, "Everyone, focus on regrouping. We push him back together." As they executed her command, she caught glimpses of determination on her allies' faces, reinforcing the trust they had built throughout their journey. Kaelin's confidence surged, and with renewed purpose, she pressed forward, feeling the collective strength of her team as they fought against the darkness threatening their home. With a fierce determination driving her, Kaelin pressed the assault, pushing Dorian closer to the edge of retreat. The sounds of their clash reverberated through the camp, each strike resonating with the weight of their mission. "Together," she shouted, rallying her allies as they closed in around Dorian, their unity creating a formidable front. Dorian glanced at his mercenaries, anger and fear flashing across his face, realizing the tide was turning against him. "Don't let them overwhelm you," he bellowed, trying to regain control as he fought back against Kaelin's onslaught. Kaelin seized the moment, her confidence and focus sharpening, her growth reflected in the way she led her allies with purpose and resolve in the face of danger. Chapter 20, Into the Wild. With the battle behind them, Kaelin gathered her allies in the clearing to reflect on their recent encounter. Taking a moment, she spread out the maps and documents they had collected, the palpable weight of their discoveries reminding her of the stakes at play. Let's take stock of what we've accomplished, she said, her tone determined as she pointed to highlights on the map that indicated their progress and what still lay ahead. They reviewed their losses, the tension in the air shifting as they acknowledged the challenges they had successfully faced together. Kaelin's mind churned with thoughts of the upcoming obstacles, knowing they needed to adjust their strategy based on their experiences in battle. Every victory comes with a lesson, she reminded the group, feeling a sense of purpose settle within her as they prepared for what was to come. Kaelin examined their recent failures closely, recalling the ambush that had nearly derailed their mission. By acting too hastily, we put ourselves in danger, she reflected, looking at the others as she spoke. Finn nodded, leaning forward. Yeah, we didn't account for the number of guards and the layouts. If we go in again, we have to be smarter. Kaelin felt the weight of responsibility as she acknowledged the truth in his words. We need a plan that allows for flexibility. If we encounter resistance again, we should have contingencies in place. Mira chimed in. What about involving the locals for scouting? They know the area better than we do. Kaelin's mind shifted toward collaboration as she considered the added advantages of connecting with the community, realizing how vital it was to adapt their strategy moving forward. As the group exchanged ideas, Kaelin felt the buzz of energy in the air, each ally contributing their thoughts and concerns. Collaboration with the locals will give us a better sense of danger, she said, wanting to reinforce the connection between their mission and the community. Leo added, if we can gain their trust, they might share insights about Dorian's movements and any other threats we haven't considered. Kaelin saw a flicker of hope in Leo's eyes and recognized how important this was for their group dynamic. Asher, still skeptical, crossed his arms. What if they betray us? We can't afford to let our guard down. Kaelin leaned in closer, her expression earnest. Trust takes time, and we have to be willing to take calculated risks. This journey is about more than just us. It's about everyone in Avalor. Her words ignited a sense of unity among the group, working to weave together their individual perspectives into a collective resolve as they planned their next steps. Kaelin felt the tension ease slightly as her allies considered her words, their expressions shifting from apprehension to contemplation. We can work on building trust with those who might feel abandoned or isolated by the royal family, Finn suggested, his tone thoughtful. Kaelin nodded, appreciating his insight, and she began to outline specific actions they could take. We can hold a community meeting to share our intentions and gather support. If they see we're united, they'll be more likely to stand with us. Ryan chimed in. We can also provide support, helping them with any issues they face from Dorian's men in exchange for their cooperation. The ideas began to flow as they brainstormed potential allies, gradually transforming their apprehension into a proactive mindset. Kaelin felt a surge of confidence as she realized how much the group had developed, their willingness to listen and support one another, reinforcing the bonds they had formed. This evolution in their dynamics made her hopeful for the future, as their collective strength fueled her determination to confront any challenges that awaited them. With the plan coming together, Kaelin felt a renewed sense of determination wash over her. Let's set a timeline for our community meeting, she said, gathering her allies' attention. We'll need to prepare our message carefully to convey our intentions while addressing their fears, she continued, thinking of her earlier conversations with the townsfolk. Finn chimed in. We should also plan for how to respond to potential misgivings. It's crucial to show them we're trustworthy. Kaelin nodded, appreciating his insight. Absolutely. We want them to feel included, not like we're imposing on them. As they discussed the logistics, she felt the collective energy of the group propel them forward, each member actively contributing to the plan. This collaborative spirit solidified her belief that, together, they could create lasting change in Avalor and strengthen their community against any future threats. Once the discussion concluded, Kaelin felt a swell of hope as they sealed their plans. Let's agree to meet tomorrow at dawn to put everything into motion, she suggested, her voice ringing with renewed purpose. As her allies nodded in agreement, she noticed a shared spark of determination igniting within the group, a reflection of their collective commitment to Avalor's future. Ryan stepped forward, a wide grin on his face. I never thought we could pull something like this together so quickly. You've really brought us all together, Kaelin. His words brought warmth to her heart, and she smiled, feeling the weight of her leadership transform into strength. It's all of us working as a team that makes this possible. With the sunrise set as their deadline, Kaelin's excitement grew, ready to face the challenges ahead. Knowing that each step they took brought them closer to achieving their shared vision. As they prepared to part ways for the night, Kaelin lingered, appreciating each ally around her, feeling grateful for the bonds they had forged through their journey. Chapter 21. Allies in Unexpected Places. Kaelin set out early in the morning, the sun just beginning to rise, casting a soft glow over the landscape. Her heart raced with anticipation as she made her way toward the neighboring village, determined to seek aid from those who might be willing to stand against Dorian. As she approached, she noticed the familiar sights: children playing, vendors setting up stalls, and the sound of laughter mingling with the rustle of leaves. But beneath the surface, an undercurrent of unease lingered. The villagers had suffered greatly under Dorian's threat, their trust needing to be earned once again. Focus on unity, Kaelin whispered to herself, recalling the discussions with her allies about fostering connections. With a determined stride, she stepped into the village square, ready to address the community and enlist their support to protect their home. Kaelin gathered the villagers in the square, the morning light casting a warm glow that didn't quite match the uncertainty in their faces. "Thank you for coming," she began, her voice steady as she took in the diverse crowd, each person holding their own worries and fears. "I know that times have been tough, and Dorian's actions have left scars on our community," she continued, sensing the weight of her words. "But we have the chance to take a stand together, to protect Avalor and each other," she pressed on, infusing her tone with passion. Some villagers exchanged worried glances, their skepticism palpable. "What can we do?" One voice broke through the murmurs, a hint of desperation coloring the question. She felt the gravity of their situation, and with renewed resolve, Kaelin replied, "We can form alliances, share resources, and fight back. Together, we can reclaim our safety and our future." As Kaelin's words hung in the air, several villagers stepped forward, expressions shifting from uncertainty to determination. "We need to know you can be trusted," an older man declared, his voice firm yet cautious. Kaelin met his gaze, understanding the weight of his words. "I know rebuilding that trust will take time, but I promise I will fight for each and every one of you. I'm not just asking for support, I'm here to offer my commitment as well." Some villagers murmured their approval, while others remained skeptical, the tension palpable as they weighed her promise against the fear that had long held them in its grip. "Fighting alone won't work," another voice chimed in, a younger woman stepping forward. "What do you propose we do together?" Kaelin seized the opportunity to outline her vision, detailing plans for training sessions and community meetings to prepare them for the challenges ahead. With every word, she felt her confidence grow, determined to show them that united, they could stand against the threats looming over Avalor. Kaelin watched as the villagers began to respond, murmurs of agreement mixing with the sound of determination filling the air. A small group gathered closer, nodding in understanding as they absorbed her vision for collaboration and unity. "We can share supplies and knowledge," she continued, her voice rising with conviction. "We'll prepare defenses and look out for one another. It's time we take the initiative." She could see the gears turning in their minds, hope beginning to flicker in some eyes while skepticism lingered in others. An older woman spoke up cautiously. "And what happens if Dorian retaliates? He won't take kindly to us banding together." Kaelin felt the tension rise but knew they needed to confront these fears. "If he does, we'll be ready. Together, we stand stronger than isolated. This is our home, and we cannot let fear dictate our actions any longer." The fire within her words resonated, prompting nods of agreement, and she felt the shift in energy as the villagers began to embrace the possibility of standing united against the threats they faced. Kaelin felt a surge of motivation as she continued to outline her vision for the community. If we work together, she reiterated, we can build stronger defenses and share valuable information. Imagine the safety we could create through collaboration. The villagers exchanged glances, uncertainty giving way to a quiet excitement at the prospect of a united front. Several stepped forward, ready to contribute to the plans. I can help organize the training sessions, one man offered, determination clear in his voice. I know a few ways around the village that can be reinforced, another said, gaining the courage to speak up. Kaelin's heart swelled with pride and gratitude, witnessing them embrace the call to action. Each offer of help strengthened their resolve, showing her that unity was blossoming where fear had once prevailed. With each discussion, Kaelin realized that she wasn't just facilitating a response to Dorian. They were actively crafting a new future together, one built on trust and collaboration. With excitement coursing through her, Kaelin felt a renewed sense of purpose as the villagers began to rally together. Let's set a date for our first community meeting, she proposed, eager to maintain the momentum. Together, they settled on a time that worked for the majority, planning to convene in 2 days' time. As they discussed logistics, Kaelin could see newfound determination etched on their faces, the shared vision creating energy that had been absent before. Together, we'll ensure everyone is safe. Our training will prepare us for whatever Dorian throws our way, she assured them, fostering a spirit of unity and resilience. She marveled at the transformation her once familiar community was undergoing, now filled with purpose and collaboration as they braced for the challenges that lay ahead. Kaelin realized how essential their connections were, not just for the fight to come, but for rekindling a passion for community that had been overshadowed by fear. Chapter 22, The Weight of Loss. The next day, as Kaelin and her allies prepared for their mission, a sense of unease settled over them. They gathered in the clearing near the village, the anticipation thick in the air, but something felt off. Did anyone check the perimeter? She asked, scanning the group for familiar faces. Leo shifted nervously, shaking his head. I thought we were focusing on the plans for the ambush, not on scouting. Kaelin's heart sank at the realization that they had overlooked such a crucial detail. We should have been more thorough, she admitted, frustration creeping into her voice. Just then, a loud shout rang out from the direction of the village, and panic surged through her as she turned, instinctively feeling the weight of their next steps resting heavily on her shoulders. Something's happened, she called out, urging the group to stay alert as they braced themselves for whatever lay ahead. As they rushed toward the sound, Kaelin's heart raced, her mind racing through possibilities of what could have gone wrong. The chatter of frightened villagers filled the air, their faces awash with fear as they pointed toward the village square. What's happening? Finn asked, his brow furrowed with concern as they reached the edge of the growing crowd. Kaelin squeezed through, her pulse quickening as she caught sight of a small group of Dorian's mercenaries menacingly confronting the townsfolk. They're demanding tribute, a villager beside her stammered, fear evident in their wide eyes. Kaelin's frustration boiled over. This was the danger they had been preparing for, and they couldn't afford to let Dorian's men intimidate their community any longer. Kaelin felt a surge of determination as she pushed her way to the front of the gathered villagers. Step back, everyone, she called out, her voice steady, trying to instill confidence in those around her. Ryan joined her, his shoulders squared as he stood protectively at her side. We'll handle this, he added, though Kaelin could sense his concern beneath his bravado. With anger boiling beneath the surface, Kaelin faced the mercenaries. What do you want here? She demanded, her eyes narrowing as she assessed the threat they posed to the villagers. One of the mercenaries sneered. We're here to collect our dues, Dorian's orders. The fear in the crowd began to rise again, but Kaelin spoke up louder. You won't intimidate us. This ends now. Her resolve sparked a flicker of hope within the villagers, and she felt the strength of their shared purpose reigniting as they stood together against the oppressive force. Kaelin stood firm, adrenaline coursing through her as she faced the mercenaries. Your presence here is unwanted, she declared, her voice clear and unwavering, echoing through the square. The mercenaries shot her incredulous looks, their surprise evident as they realized the townsfolk had gathered behind Kaelin, rallying in support. "Do you think you can stand against Dorian?" one of them mocked, taking a step forward with a sneer. Kaelin felt the weight of their doubt, but it fueled her determination. "I don't just think it, I know we can. Together, we are stronger than you." As she spoke, the villagers around her began to nod, the spark of courage igniting within them, turning collective fear into a shared commitment. Kaelin's heart swelled with hope, recognizing the power of unity that could drive them forward against the oppressors threatening their home. The tension in the air escalated as the mercenaries weighed their options, glancing at each other with uncertainty. Kaelin took a step forward, emboldened by the support of the villagers behind her. "We will not bow to your threats. This is our home, and we will protect it." With her words, she felt a surge of energy ripple through the crowd, the townspeople rallying together in solidarity, voices rising in united defiance. Ryan shouted from behind, "We stand as one against you. You will not intimidate us any longer." The mercenaries hesitated, sensing the shift in power as Kaelin's determination resonated among their community. Her confidence swelled within her. Their shared resolve was a force that would not be easily broken, setting the stage for a confrontation that could change everything. Just then, the lead mercenary stepped forward, frustration etched across his face. "You think your fists can protect you?" he spat, brandishing his weapon menacingly, trying to regain control over the situation. Kaelin felt a surge of defiance, her voice unwavering. "We don't need to fight you. We just need to stand together." The villagers around her shouted their agreement, a chorus of support that filled the square. "Back off!" Leo yelled, stepping forward alongside Kaelin, ready to confront any challenges that came their way. The mercenaries hesitated for a moment, the weight of the crowd's determination forcing them to reconsider their approach. Kaelin understood that this moment was pivotal. Their unity was stronger than steel, and the villagers were ready to protect their home, emboldened by the sacrifices they had already made. Chapter 23, A Call to Unity. With the villagers standing united, Kaelin felt a surge of responsibility. "Now we must act quickly," she declared, her voice steady as she surveyed the faces around her, filled with determination and readiness. "I'll gather more information about Dorian's plans, but we need eyes everywhere," she instructed, making her intentions clear. Finn stepped up beside her, nodding in agreement. "I can head to the eastern paths and check for any signs of movement." Kaelin appreciated his willingness to help, feeling the weight of their mission pressing against her shoulders. "Great idea," she responded, her spirits lifting as the momentum of their plans came to life. As they organized into teams to cover more ground, Kaelin's heart raced with anticipation, knowing that each decision they made could shape the course of their fight ahead. Kaelin led her allies toward the outskirts of the village, determination guiding her every step. "Let's reconvene here in 2 hours," she instructed, ensuring everyone understood their assignments. With Finn heading east, she felt a sense of assurance knowing he would gather valuable information. "Remember to communicate any findings immediately," she reminded them, emphasizing the importance of staying connected. As they split into their respective teams, Kaelin couldn't shake the feeling of urgency. Every second counted in their mission to thwart Dorian's plans. Turning to the remaining group, she added, "Stay sharp and adaptable. We've faced challenges before. We know how to deal with unexpected variables." As they moved along, Kaelin felt a mixture of excitement and nervousness pulsing through her. Leo walked beside her, his brow furrowed in concentration. "What if we're not prepared for what we find?" he asked, his voice tinged with apprehension. Kaelin sensed his worry, appreciating his honesty. "We can only prepare as much as we know," she replied, "but we're capable and will adapt as we go." Sauntering ahead, Asher grabbed her attention with a pointed question. "And if we find nothing, what then?" Kaelin paused for a moment, gathering her thoughts. "Then we reassess and move forward with the information we do have. Every step we take is part of the larger strategy," she assured him, her confidence rising as she spoke. She knew the importance of addressing their fears, and with each conversation she felt the bonds of trust strengthening, ready to face whatever challenges awaited them. As the group continued their preparations, excitement began to build in the air, mingling with the tension of uncertainty. Kaelin could feel the growing anticipation among her allies, each person eager to contribute to the mission. "Let's meet here at sunset," she said, projecting confidence that encouraged her allies to stay committed. Leo, still processing their discussions, asked, "What if the scouts run into trouble while gathering intel?" "Then they'll know how to signal for us," Kaelin replied, her voice steady. "We've practiced this together. Remember, everyone has a role to play, and we can handle whatever comes our way." With newfound excitement, the group rallied around her words, their shared purpose igniting the determination needed to face Dorian's impending threat. Kaelin's heart swelled with pride as she watched her friends exchange looks of resolve, every connection and bond they had formed shining through as they prepared for the challenges ahead. With their plans established, Kaelin watched her allies disperse, each one slipping into their roles with purpose and determination. She felt a mix of excitement and anxiety as they prepared to set their wheels in motion, the anticipation gripping her chest. "Remember, communication is key," she reminded them, her voice carrying a note of authority. As the group ventured out, a sense of camaraderie permeated the air, the bond forged through their shared experiences, making them stronger. Kaelin took a moment to collect her thoughts, recognizing how much had changed since they first began this journey together. She understood that this mission was not just about confronting Dorian, but about building a future for Avalor, one where her allies and the community could thrive and stand united against any threat. With a deep breath, Kaelin stepped away from the meeting point, her resolve solidified as she moved toward the path leading to the village outskirts. The familiar landscape now felt more significant, each step echoing the weight of their mission and the shared determination of her allies. She couldn't shake the feeling that this was a pivotal moment, one that would define the future of Avalore and the bonds they had forged. As she glanced back at the village, now bustling with newfound energy, she envisioned the potential of what they could achieve together. Determined, Kaelin quickened her pace, her mind focused on the tasks ahead and the allies they would soon meet. Each step forward was a testament to her growth, and she felt a fierce sense of responsibility to ensure they succeeded in uniting against the looming threat. Chapter 24, The Battle for the Crown. As the sun dipped below the horizon, casting golden light across the landscape, Kaelin prepared herself for the next move against Dorian. The village square buzzed with fervor, villagers coming together with an energy she hadn't seen before. "Tonight is our chance to reclaim what is ours," she announced, her voice strong as she rallied her allies around her. The weight of the upcoming confrontation lingered in the air, but Kaelin felt a sense of clarity. This was the moment she had been preparing for, ready to make sacrifices for the greater good. Determined, she adjusted her weapon, feeling the familiar weight in her hand as she took a deep breath, mentally rehearsing the plan that lay ahead. With her allies standing beside her, solidarity formed like an unbreakable bond, and she knew they would face whatever came next together. Kaelin stepped forward, her heart pounding as she made the call to action. "Let's move out," she commanded, her voice cutting through the murmurs of the crowd, igniting a fire in their spirits. The villagers quickly organized themselves, each member knowing their role and the urgency of the task at hand. With weapons drawn and supplies gathered, they prepared to confront Dorian's forces, the group united in their determination. Kaelin felt the weight of responsibility pressing on her shoulders, but found strength in the faces around her, each ally ready to stand and fight. As they advanced, she couldn't shake the thrill of adrenaline, a heady mix of fear and excitement coursing through her as they approached the confrontation that would define their future. As they approached Dorian's camp, the atmosphere thickened with tension, each of Kaelin's allies moving in sync, filled with resolve. Suddenly, a guard spotted them, raising the alarm, and chaos erupted in the camp. "Stick to the plan," Kaelin shouted, her heart racing as she pointed toward their designated targets. The group sprang into action, their training evident as they executed their roles with precision. Finn dashed to the left, flanking a group of guards, while Ryan led another section toward the entrance. showing a level of focus that Kaelin hadn't seen before. Kaelin herself moved closer to the center, adrenaline surging, aware that every decision in this moment could influence the outcome of their mission. Kaelin dashed forward, weaving through the chaos, her eyes locked on Dorian amidst the fray. "Focus on Dorian," she yelled to her allies, rallying them as the clash of weapons echoed around her. Dorian noticed her approach, his face twisting into a sneer as he raised his weapon defiantly. "You think you can defeat me?" he taunted, wielding power and malice in his tone. Unfazed by his bravado, Kaelin tightened her grip on her weapon, determination hardening within her. I know we can." As the battle raged on, she felt her allies closing in, their coordinated attacks creating a barrier between Dorian and the chaos he thrived on. Kaelin's confidence surged as she fought, each move showcasing her growth, keenly aware that their actions today would reshape the fate of Avalor. Kaelin pushed forward, her heart racing as she engaged Dorian, their blades clashing in a furious dance of power and determination. "Your arrogance blinds you," she spat, dodging his attack and delivering a swift counter that made him falter. He sneered, regaining his composure. "You'll pay for your defiance." But the fire in Kaelin's eyes burned brighter, fueled by her determination to protect her home and the allies fighting alongside her. With each successful blow, she felt her confidence solidifying, her actions transforming from mere survival into strategic blows against their true enemy. As the battle intensified, she realized that her growth wasn't just personal, it was reflected in her allies' spirits, bolstering their collective strength as they fought to reclaim Avalor. With Dorian momentarily disoriented, Kaelin seized the opportunity to rally her allies, shouting, "Now, take advantage of the chaos!" The group sprang into action, executing their plan with precision as they surrounded the mercenaries, working together seamlessly. Finn and Ryan flanked Kaelin, pushing forward against the remaining guards, their determination shining through in every strike they made. Kaelin felt a surge of exhilaration, realizing how far they had come together. This was not just her fight, it was theirs, and the unity forged in the heat of battle was palpable. "Stay focused. We need to wrap this up," she commanded, her voice cutting through the clamor as they drove back against the enemies. Fueled by their collective efforts, they pushed Dorian closer to the edge, ready to deliver a decisive blow that would finally bring the conflict to a resolution. Chapter 25, The Battle for the Crown. With the dust of battle settling around them, Kaelin gathered her allies in a quiet clearing to assess their progress. She spread out their maps and gathered notes, reminding herself of the battles fought and the victories won. "All right, we've faced Dorian, and we need to capitalize on what we've learned," she instructed, her voice steady as she pointed to key locations on the map. "Here are our next moves," she continued, highlighting spots that could help them strengthen their defenses and gather more allies. Her allies leaned in, each one absorbing the details as they considered their options for the next steps. Feeling the weight of leadership settle on her shoulders, Kaelin meticulously coordinated their efforts, ensuring they would not lose momentum now, channeling the lessons they had learned into actionable plans for the future. Kaelin organized the tasks at hand, recognizing the importance of strategic delegation. "Leo, gather the intel we have from our last mission and map out potential routes to approach the towns looking for alliances," she instructed, watching him nod with determination. "Finn, I want you to reach out to the scouts. They need to know we're regrouping and preparing for the next phase," she added, feeling the urgency rise in her chest. As the group moved into action, Kaelin took a moment to reflect on the various personalities at play. Ryan was already rallying a few villagers to help with logistics, his enthusiasm infectious as he laid out plans for supplies. Kaelin felt a swell of pride at how each person stepped up, understanding that their collective efforts would be crucial as they prepared to face whatever challenges lingered in the shadows. As the group focused on their respective tasks, Kaelin felt a mixture of excitement and anxiety bubbling within her. "Remember, we need clear communication," she reminded them as they dispersed, emphasizing the need for continuity. Leo, glancing over his shoulder, suddenly voiced his concern. "What if our allies don't come through? What if we're relying on people who won't show up when it matters?" Kaelin felt a momentary flicker of doubt at his words, but she squared her shoulders, refusing to let uncertainty take hold. Then we adapt. We can't let fear make our decisions. We've built something strong here. Mira chimed in. We just have to trust the connections we've made. They need us as much as we need them. Kaelin's heart swelled at her words, reminding her of the unity they were fostering. Exactly. If we approach this as a partnership, we'll strengthen our bonds and ensure everyone's safety. With that, Kaelin felt the energy shift back to determination, galvanizing the group as they pushed forward with a renewed sense of purpose. With the group beginning their preparations, Kaelin felt the atmosphere thickening with anticipation. Let's gather everything we can find, she urged, leading them back to the supplies they'd previously collected. As they rummaged through sacks and crates, she could see Leo and Finn sharing ideas, brainstorming ways to utilize their resources efficiently. Perhaps we could rig some of these supplies to create distractions or traps around the village, Leo suggested. A spark of creativity igniting his enthusiasm. Kaelin nodded, appreciating the idea. That's a brilliant approach. If we can create diversions, it will give us an edge should we encounter any resistance. Engaging in their shared vision, she noticed the trust among her allies growing stronger with each collaborative exchange, an encouraging reminder of how far they had come since the beginning of their journey. As they continued to gather supplies, Kaelin felt a sense of urgency ignite within her, the weight of their mission pushing her forward. Let's not forget to prepare for the worst-case scenarios, she mentioned, her voice steady as she glanced at her allies. Mira, can you look into gathering additional information from the traders in the village? They might have heard something useful, she suggested, recognizing the importance of using every resource available. Mira nodded, her determination matching Kaelin's, ready to take on the task. Kaelin surveyed the progress, feeling grateful for the growing confidence reflected in each member of the group. Keep working together. We make a pretty formidable team, she encouraged, her heart lifting with pride. This fostering of cooperation and shared responsibility reinforced her belief in the strength of their mission, a feeling that their time spent preparing would pay off in the end. With their supplies gathered and plans solidified, Kaelin drew her allies close for a final huddle. Tomorrow, we put our plan into action, she announced, her voice filled with determination. The group nodded, each member feeling the weight of purpose as they prepared for the endeavor ahead. Be ready for anything, she continued, noting the mix of excitement and apprehension on their faces. Asher, who had been quiet during their preparations, finally spoke up. What if we encounter more mercenaries? We've already faced so much. Kaelin met his gaze, sensing the lingering doubt. Every challenge we've faced has only made us stronger. We're more prepared now than we've ever been. Her confident reassurances resonated within the group, rekindling their belief in the mission and solidifying their bonds as they prepared to confront whatever awaited them. Chapter 26, The Betrayer's Mark. As the sun rose over Avalor, Kaelin prepared to lead her allies on their mission to confront Dorian once more. The morning air was crisp, filled with a mix of anticipation and anxiety as they gathered at the meeting point. Kaelin could feel the weight of the moment pressing down on her, aware that the outcome of their efforts would hinge on their every action. We're ready for this, she reassured the group, her voice a calming force amidst the nerves. As they went through their final checks, those who had been affected by previous skirmishes shared wary glances, the scars of their experiences evident in the tension that lingered in the air. Kaelin took a deep breath, feeling the collective energy of her allies, each one united in their purpose, ready to face the challenges ahead together. Kaelin gathered her allies in a tight circle, reviewing their strategic map and the specifics of their plan. We'll move quickly and quietly, using the element of surprise to our advantage, she said, passion igniting her words as she pointed to key locations. Leo leaned in, his brow furrowed. What if they've reinforced their camp? We can't risk being caught off guard again. A sense of unease fluttered through the group, but Kaelin held her ground. We adapt as needed. If we encounter unexpected resistance, we regroup and alter our approach on the fly. We've trained for this. Asher, still harboring doubts, crossed his arms. And what if that plan fails? We can't afford more losses. Kaelin met his gaze, feeling the urgency behind his words. Then we've learned from our experience. Failure is part of this journey, and we can turn it into strength. With that, she felt the group rally around her resolve. A renewed sense of unity and purpose taking hold as they prepared to execute their plan. With the plan in place, Kaelin felt a renewed sense of focus as they finished their preparations. Together, they reviewed their equipment, ensuring each weapon was sharp and every piece of gear was in working order. "Gather everything you think we might need, and check your supplies," she directed, moving among her allies and offering encouragement. Leo and Ryan exchanged glances, the worries still visible in their expressions, but gradually, their determination began to shine through as they fell into the rhythm of preparation. "Kaelin, you've really grown into this leadership role," Finn remarked as he tested the tension on his bow, admiration evident in his voice. Kaelin smiled, feeling a blend of pride and humility as she responded, "It's all of us together that make this possible. We're stronger as a team, and I need each of you now more than ever." As they completed their checks, Kaelin sensed an underlying tension in the air, the weight of their mission resting heavily upon each of them. "Are we really ready for this?" Ryan voiced the concern lingering in the back of everyone's mind, his eyes darting around the group. Kaelin looked at her friends, realizing the importance of addressing their fears. "We are ready. We've trained for this moment, and we know the risks. That's what makes us stronger," she reassured them, her voice steady and confident. The others nodded, taking her words to heart as they prepared for the unknown. Kaelin caught a glimpse of Asher, who still appeared uncertain, fidgeting with his equipment. "If you have concerns, now's the time to voice them," she prompted, wanting to ensure everyone felt included and heard. Asher hesitated, but finally said, "I just don't want to see anyone else get hurt. What if we fail again?" Kaelin stepped closer, her expression softening. "Every journey comes with risks, but we won't be alone. Together we can face whatever lies ahead." The gravity of their mission hung heavy in the air as Kaelin took a moment to steady her breath, looking at each member of the group. "Remember what we've accomplished together. We've faced challenges before and emerged stronger," she reminded them, her voice carrying an encouraging weight. Finn met her gaze, his resolve shining through as he said, "You're right. We made it through the last confrontation, and we can do it again." With each agreement murmured among them, Kaelin felt their collective strength rising, energizing the air around them. She felt her heart lift as she continued, "No matter what happens, we stick together and trust each other. That's the key to success." This shared commitment fueled their determination, reinforcing the bonds that had been built over time and galvanizing them for the upcoming confrontation. As they prepared to leave, Kaelin felt a surge of energy coursing through her, revitalizing her spirit. "Let's check one last time to ensure we're all set," she urged, moving among her allies, her presence reassuring as she reinforced their connection. Leo tightened the straps on his pack, a determined look on his face. "We're ready." Kaelin nodded, feeling the weight of their unity as each ally prepared themselves mentally and physically for the journey ahead. "Stay sharp and listen for signals. We've trained for this, and now we'll see it through," she said, her confidence solidifying their collective resolve. With one last glance at her friends, Kaelin knew they were stepping into the unknown, but she also recognized their preparedness. Together, they could tackle the challenges that awaited them. Chapter 27, Shattering Control. With the sun rising higher in the sky, Kaelin and her allies prepared to initiate their plan, the excitement palpable in the air. They gathered in a secluded spot, not far from Dorian's encampment, ensuring they were out of sight while finalizing their approach. "Today, we take back what's ours," Kaelin announced, her voice ringing with authority as she felt the weight of their mission. The group fell silent, their anticipation mixing with anxiety, each face reflecting a shared determination to succeed. "Let's go over our roles one last time," she urged, wanting to reinforce their strategy and ensure everyone was on the same page. As each ally reiterated their tasks, Kaelin felt her confidence grow, the bond between them solidifying as they prepared to take decisive action against the looming threats ahead. Kaelin outlined their final strategy, her finger tracing the map spread out before them. "We need to create diversions to draw the guards away from Dorian's tent, allowing us to move in unnoticed." As she spoke, she glanced around at her allies, gauging their reactions to her plan. "Leo, you'll signal the others while Finn and I sneak behind and get closer to Dorian." Finn nodded, confident in his role. "I can create distractions with some of the supplies we gathered." Kaelin felt a surge of pride, appreciating how well they worked together. "Exactly," she replied, her heart swelling with determination. "This way, we'll have a chance to catch him off guard." She could see a newfound appreciation for her leadership in their eyes, fueling her resolve as they readied themselves for the mission ahead. As they moved to put their plan into action, Kaelin felt the pulse of urgency thrumming through her. "Let's split up," she instructed, looking each ally in the eye. "We can cover more ground this way and stay under the radar." She assigned different areas for each team, ensuring that everyone understood their roles and the importance of staying in communication. As they prepared to move, a sense of unease rippled through the group, particularly from Asher, who crossed his arms. "What if we run into unexpected guard patrols?" he asked, his skepticism surfacing amid their excitement. Kaelin took a moment to consider his concerns. "Then we adapt as we go. We've trained for this and will rely on each other to maneuver as needed." Reassured by her response, the group began to disperse, each member ready to tackle the tasks ahead, and Kaelin felt a strong sense of purpose fueling her confidence. As they approached Dorian's camp under the cover of darkness, Kaelin felt a mix of excitement and anxiety wash over her. The flickering light of torches illuminated their path, casting long shadows that danced ominously around them. "Remember, we stick to the plan," she reminded her team in a hushed tone, her heart racing with anticipation. Just then, a low growl echoed through the night, causing Kaelin to freeze momentarily. "Did you hear that?" Leo whispered, his eyes wide as he scanned the surrounding area. "Yes, but we need to keep moving," Kaelin replied, feeling an urgent need to maintain their momentum while acutely aware of the potential dangers lurking in the shadows. Once within sight of the camp, Kaelin paused to scan the area, her heart racing as she mentally reaffirmed their plan. "Finn, get ready to create the distraction," she whispered, feeling the weight of responsibility settle on her. He nodded, adrenaline flooding his veins as he prepared himself for the task ahead. "On my signal, you initiate it," she continued, glancing over her shoulder to ensure the others were every bit as focused. As the tension mounted, Ryan's voice broke through. "What if they change the guard? We need a backup plan." Kaelin appreciated the foresight, swiftly recalibrating her strategy. "If that happens, we adapt. We'll find cover and regroup. Trust in each other," she replied, her belief in teamwork resonating through the group. Feeling their support reinvigorate her spirit, Kaelin edged closer, prepared to act decisively when the moment arrived. Kaelin took a deep breath, her heart pounding as she raised her hand to signal Finn. "Now," she whispered, watching him dart toward the nearest pile of supplies, ready to create the diversion. As he kicked over the crate, causing a loud crash that echoed through the night, chaos erupted in the camp. Guards shouted and rushed toward the noise, allowing Kaelin and the others to slip into the shadows without being noticed. "Come on, now's our chance," she urged, leading her allies swiftly toward Dorian's main tent, the adrenaline coursing through her veins. Their plan, woven together through teamwork and preparation, was finally in motion, energizing Kaelin as they pressed deeper into enemy territory. Chapter 28, The Aftermath. As the group infiltrated Dorian's camp, Kaelin's heart raced with a mixture of excitement and apprehension. The atmosphere was thick with tension as they moved carefully between tents, the sounds of their adversaries muffled by the distance. "Stay sharp," she whispered, glancing back at her allies to ensure they remained close, their determination reflected in their expressions. She could see mercenaries scattered about, their backs turned as they took the bait of Finn's diversion. Kaelin's thoughts raced through the strategy they had practiced, mentally preparing for the next steps in their plan. With each careful step, she felt the weight of leadership settling on her shoulders, ready to prove that their efforts would result in a decisive victory. Kaelin gestured for her allies to take their positions, feeling the weight of anticipation as they prepared for the next phase of their mission. "Remember our plan," she whispered, reinforcing the importance of communication and teamwork as they moved into the center of the camp. With the guards distracted, she felt a spark of confidence as they made their way toward Dorian's tent. Finn crept alongside her, ready to provide backup, while Ryan and Mira positioned themselves to flank any approaching mercenaries. Kaelin's mind raced through potential contingencies, knowing the importance of adaptability in the face of unpredictability. As they reached the entrance of the tent, she took a breath, steeling herself for the confrontation that awaited them inside. Kaelin pushed aside the tent flap, stepping into the dim light inside. Her heart raced as she surveyed the space, weapons ready, scanning for Dorian. The atmosphere was tense, filled with the scattered remnants of stolen goods and plans. The oppressive silence waited with anticipation. Suddenly, Dorian appeared from the shadows, a smirk spreading across his face as his eyes landed on Kaelin. "I wondered when you'd finally come. Do you really think you can stop me?" She stood her ground, gripping her weapon tightly. "I'm here to end your reign over Avalor," she declared, her voice steady despite the storm of emotions swirling inside her. The efficient training and preparation they had undergone surged to the forefront of her mind as she prepared to confront him directly, knowing this was their moment to reclaim their home. Dorian took a step forward, the confidence radiating from him like a palpable force. "You think you can just waltz in here and expect to reclaim what I have taken?" he sneered, waving his hand dismissively as he motioned to the chaos outside. Kaelin felt the weight of his words, but pushed through the doubt. "I'm not going to let you keep terrorizing Avalor. You've underestimated us for too long." She sensed her allies positioning themselves strategically behind her, ready to support her in the confrontation. "Your bravado will be your downfall," Dorian replied, drawing his weapon and preparing to engage. Kaelin tightened her grip, her resolve solidifying as she readied herself for the fight ahead, knowing this was a pivotal moment that would define their struggle against his tyranny. Kaelin sprang into action, lunging at Dorian with a fierce determination that fueled her every move. Their blades clashed, the sound reverberating in the tense space as she fought with precision, leveraging all she had learned on this journey. Dorian retaliated with significant force, each strike between them a dance of power and fear, pushing Kaelin to rely on her instincts. "Your fight is futile," he shouted, attempting to break her focus, but she remained resolute. Feeling the presence of her allies nearby, bolstering her strength. The battle inside the tent intensified, allowing her to adapt to his patterns, becoming more attuned to the flow of combat. She could sense the energy shifting around her, her allies fighting fiercely outside the tent, and with every successful move, her confidence surged, knowing they were united in this pivotal moment. With every clash of steel, Kaelin felt her resolve strengthen as she pressed forward in the fight against Dorian. "Your tactics are old and predictable," Dorian spat, attempting to regain control, but her focus sharpened in response to his taunts. "You've underestimated us, and that's your biggest mistake," Kaelin retorted, feeling the adrenaline surge as she parried his next thrust and countered with a precise strike to his side. The momentum of the battle shifted as her allies fought fiercely outside, their determination reverberating through her actions. Kaelin could see the glimmers of hope in their eyes, knowing that the outcome of this confrontation wasn't just about her anymore. It was about every life in Avalor. Pushing through exhaustion, she summoned every lesson learned along the way, knowing this moment could redefine their destiny and set them on the path toward lasting peace. Chapter 29, Returning Heroes. As the dust began to settle from the fierce confrontation, Kaelin surveyed the remnants of the battle with a mix of relief and sorrow. The clearing was littered with abandoned equipment and the echoes of past conflict, a stark reminder of the struggles they had just faced. She took a deep breath, her heart heavy as she turned to her allies, their faces reflecting both exhaustion and triumph. "Is everyone okay?" she asked, her voice breaking the silence that enveloped them. Ryan nodded, though the weariness in his eyes revealed the toll of their effort. "We did it, but at a cost," he replied, pointing to a few injured allies who were being tended to nearby. Kaelin felt the weight of their losses pressing down on her, knowing that their victory had come with significant consequences that would need to be addressed moving forward. Kaelin quickly moved to assist those who had been injured during the scuffle, her instincts kicking in as she knelt beside an ally nursing a deep cut. "Hold still, I'll get you patched up," she said, her voice calm despite the chaos around them. As she worked, she felt a sense of duty welling up within her, driving home the importance of each person in their fight for Avalor. Behind her, Leo was coordinating with others, ensuring they had access to proper medical supplies and assistance, and Kaelin felt a swell of pride at his proactive approach. "Thank you, Kaelin," the injured ally murmured, gratitude shining in their eyes as she finished bandaging the wound. Her heart ached at the sight of her friend's vulnerabilities, but it also ignited her determination to ensure they would not face such challenges alone again, solidifying her resolve to lead them into a stronger future. As the last of the injuries were tended to, Kaelin gathered her allies together to discuss the aftermath of their battle. "Today was a victory, but it didn't come without costs," she began, her voice steady as she faced the group. A few nodded, the weight of their shared experience evident in their expressions. "We need to focus on healing the wounds, both physical and emotional, before moving forward," Finn suggested, voicing the concerns that hung unspoken in the air. Kaelin appreciated his insight, realizing how integral it was to address their needs as a team. "I agree. We've all fought hard, and we need time to regroup." Asher chimed in. "We should strengthen our defenses while we recuperate. Dorian won't remain quiet for long." Kaelin felt a mixture of gratitude and respect for her allies, recognizing that their perspectives were vital for navigating the challenges ahead as they solidified their path forward. Kaelin stood at the center of their gathering, the reality of their situation settling heavily on her shoulders. "Let's take stock of what we have and what we've learned," she suggested, her mind racing with the aftermath of their encounter. The group quickly began to share ideas, pointing out their available supplies and strategizing how to fortify their defenses against future attacks. "More barriers around the village could help deter Dorian," Ryan proposed, his energy renewed as he contemplated practical solutions. Kaelin nodded, appreciating his input. "We'll also need to establish communication with any nearby allies. The more united we are, the harder it will be for him to strike." As they discussed their next steps, Kaelin felt a surge of responsibility, knowing that the decisions made in this moment would shape the future of Avalor and their efforts to reclaim peace. As the plans took shape, Kaelin felt a sense of urgency mixed with hope surrounding the group. "Let's set a timeline to implement these changes," she proposed, ready to turn their discussions into action. Everyone nodded, the earlier tension giving way to a cooperative spirit as they recognized the importance of moving forward. "By the end of the week, we should have our defenses established," Kaelin stated, her determination infusing the environment with energy. Mira chimed in. "I can help rally the villagers to gather materials for the barriers and traps." Kaelin smiled, grateful for the support, knowing that each contribution would deepen their connection and strength as a united front against whatever challenges lay ahead. This commitment not only reinforced their plan, but also ignited a fire in Kaelin's heart, affirming her dedication to protect Avalor and the allies she had come to rely on. With their plans laid out and the team energized, Kaelin felt a wave of purpose wash over her as they prepared to implement their strategy. "Let's regroup at the village square in 2 days to assess our progress and adjust if necessary," she proposed, ensuring everyone understood the importance of staying connected. As she looked around, a sense of pride filled her as she noticed her allies rallying together, each participant reflecting a commitment to the cause. "Together, we'll strengthen Avalor and stand against Dorian," she promised, her voice firm and reassuring. Finn grinned. "I believe we can make a real difference. You've brought us all together, Kaelin." Her heart swelled with gratitude, recognizing how her journey had transformed not just herself, but her entire community, setting the stage for the challenges they would face together in the days to come. Chapter 30, A New Beginning. As the days progressed, Kaelin found herself reflecting on the journey that had brought them to this point. Sitting in the village square, surrounded by her allies, she felt a moment of clarity wash over her. The laughter of children and the sounds of merchants preparing their wares reminded her of the community she was fighting to protect. Kaelin gathered everyone's attention, her heart pounding with anticipation as she shared her vision for what lay ahead. "We've established strong defenses, but we also need to learn from this experience," she urged, hoping to instill a sense of purpose. "I want us to be prepared not just for Dorian, but for whatever threats come our way in the future." Her words resonated within the group, the atmosphere buzzing with renewed commitment to their shared cause. As Kaelin outlined her ideas, she focused on the importance of training and preparedness, knowing their building success had to continue. "If we can equip everyone with the skills they need to defend themselves, we'll create a resilient community," she stated, her excitement palpable as she spoke. Ryan nodded thoughtfully. "We could hold workshops and practice sessions, getting everyone involved to foster unity." Kaelin felt a surge of hope at this suggestion, knowing that each moment spent preparing would reinforce their bonds. "We can also share stories of our adventures to inspire those who are hesitant," she added, envisioning the growing enthusiasm among the villagers. Finn chimed in, "And maybe we could include some resource management workshops, teaching people how to navigate challenges they may face." Kaelin smiled, appreciating the collaboration. With each idea shared, she felt their collective ambition tightening their resolve as they leaned into their shared future. As the conversation flowed, Kaelin felt the weight of her responsibilities beginning to solidify. Villagers began to voice their concerns and suggestions, revealing their hopes for a more secure future. "Can we really trust each other after everything that's happened?" one woman asked, her voice tinged with uncertainty. Kaelin met her gaze, recognizing the hesitancy that lingered. "Trust takes time, but we've all faced these challenges together. That alone tells us we can count on one another," she replied, her tone resolute. Another villager spoke up. "What if Dorian returns and we're not prepared? We've seen how quickly things can change." Kaelin acknowledged the valid fears, standing firm in her response. "That's why we need to build our strength now. We have to stand united to protect our home and each other." Her words resonated, inspiring a sense of commitment as they all began to see the possibilities that lay in their hands. Feeling a wave of determination surge through her, Kaelin encouraged the villagers to take ownership of their safety. "Let's work together on this," she said, her voice filled with conviction. "We can share our skills and knowledge to create a stronger community." As she spoke, the energy in the square shifted, excitement sparking in the eyes of those gathered. One villager stood up, volunteering to teach others self-defense techniques, planting the seeds of a learning environment. Another offered to share their expertise in herbal medicine and healing, further strengthening their collective resource pool. Kaelin smiled, her heart swelling with pride as she witnessed the transformation taking place. Each individual contribution reflected a deeper commitment to their shared vision of safety and strength. As the discussions continued, Kaelin felt a palpable sense of energy radiate from the group, their collective ambitions merging into a powerful force. "Let's set specific goals for our training sessions," she suggested, pushing the momentum forward. Finn nodded in agreement, his excitement shining through. "We can create a schedule that fits everyone's availability, making sure no one is left behind." Kaelin glanced around, a sense of pride swelling within her as she observed the willingness of the villagers to contribute. "I want everyone to feel empowered and confident in their abilities," she emphasized, knowing that their growth would lead to a stronger community. As they brainstormed ideas, Kaelin realized how much she had evolved throughout this journey. Her leadership was the catalyst that united them in a shared purpose. Every voice mattered, every opinion valued, deepening the connections they held as they prepared to face any challenges that lay ahead. With their plans and schedules in place, Kaelin felt a sense of accomplishment wash over her. As the villagers began to pair off for training exercises, she stepped back to observe, a smile spreading across her face. The sound of laughter and the thud of feet against the ground filled the air, creating an atmosphere of unity and joy. Taking a moment, Kaelin reflected on how far they had come together, the bonds forged through their struggles set against a backdrop of ambition. She spotted Leo demonstrating a few self-defense moves, his earlier hesitation replaced by confidence as villagers eagerly practiced beside him. Kaelin's heart swelled with pride, knowing that their collaborative spirit would not only prepare them for future challenges, but also strengthen the community ties that would see them through even the darkest times. Chapter 31, Bonds of Friendship. With the sun shining brightly over Avalor, Kaelin stepped back into the familiar confines of her family's gem shop, a place steeped in memories. The scent of polished stones and the warm glow of the gems greeted her, but she could feel the shift within herself as she entered. She began to organize the display cases with a sense of purpose, arranging the gemstones with care as her mind reflected on the changes she had undergone during their journey. Kaelin felt a new energy within her, transforming the routine tasks into opportunities for connection and learning. Ryan appeared at the doorway, glancing around the shop with a look of approval. "You've really taken charge around here," he remarked, highlighting her growth as a leader. Kaelin smiled, grateful for the recognition, but also determined to prove that the work they had done had strengthened not just her, but their entire community. As Kaelin arranged the gemstones on the shelves, she noticed the subtle changes in her routine. She approached each stone with a newfound appreciation, recalling the stories that accompanied them and the role they played in connecting with the townsfolk. "Have you given any thought to what you'll do next?" Ryan asked, breaking her train of thought while leaning against the counter, curiosity evident in his eyes. Kaelin paused, considering her future. "I want to ensure the villagers feel secure. We need to keep building on this together." Ryan nodded, his face lighting up with pride. "You're really stepping into a leadership role. It's inspiring." Kaelin felt a warmth at his words, knowing that her journey had ignited a spark of hope not just in herself, but in her brother and the community around her. As Kaelin continued her work, a group of villagers entered the shop, their expressions a mix of excitement and curiosity. "Kaelin, we've heard about your plans for the training center," one woman exclaimed, her eyes sparkling with enthusiasm. Kaelin looked up, a smile spreading across her face. "Yes, we're starting next week. It's going to be great." The villagers shared eager looks, clearly ready to support her vision. "We want to help. Some of us have skills we can teach." Another added, stepping forward with determination. Kaelin felt a rush of gratitude, realizing how much the community valued her efforts. "That would be amazing. The more we share, the stronger we become together," she replied, her heart full of hope. Their willingness to contribute highlighted the transformation within Avalor, reinforcing Kaelin's belief that her mission was not just hers alone, but a collective journey toward a safer and stronger future. Kaelin felt the energy in the room swell as the villagers shared their skills and experiences, creating an environment ripe for collaboration. "Let's start with basic self-defense techniques," one of the villagers suggested, showcasing a confident demeanor that encouraged others to join in. Kaelin nodded eagerly. "That's a fantastic idea. We can practice together, building confidence in each other." As conversations ignited around her, she could see the hope growing in the eyes of those who'd long felt powerless against Dorian's tyranny. "Working together will make us stronger," she affirmed, allowing her own passion to inspire those around her. This exchange of knowledge was more than just training. It represented a shift in Avalor's spirit, one that brought the community together in defiance of threats, reinforcing the bond they were building against adversity. As the villagers engaged in discussions about the training center, Kaelin felt an overwhelming sense of fulfillment. Each shared skill and story brought them closer, transforming the fear that had once gripped Avalor into a shared determination to fight for their future. Kaelin moved among the group, offering encouragement and answering questions, her confidence reaffirmed with every interaction. "It's not just about defending ourselves, but about becoming a community that stands together," she reminded them, emphasizing their collective strength. Some villagers nodded, visibly inspired, while others offered their own experiences as reminders of what they had endured. Kaelin recognized this was the moment she had longed for, a chance to build a united front that could withstand any challenge, solidifying the foundation for a new era in Avalor. As the discussions wound down and the villagers began to disperse, Kaelin felt a profound sense of accomplishment settle within her. She took a moment to watch their interactions, the excitement and camaraderie woven into their efforts palpable in the air. "Let's keep this momentum going," she called out, her voice ringing with enthusiasm. Several villagers turned back, their faces lit with smiles, ready to contribute more to the cause. "I'll gather more people for our next meeting," one woman offered, her earlier hesitance replaced by a newfound passion. Kaelin beamed, recognizing that the steps they were taking were not just for today, but laid the groundwork for a resilient future, igniting her ambition to steer Avalor towards safety and unity. Chapter 32, The Legacy continues. As Kaelin settled into the rhythm of routine, she realized that familiar tasks now held deeper meaning. She moved through the village, her presence no longer just a daughter of the gem shop, but a burgeoning leader. Each day she engaged with the townsfolk, listening to their stories and concerns, fostering connections that had once been fragile. "Thank you for taking the time to hear us out," one villager said, gratitude evident in their eyes. Kaelin smiled, feeling a sense of fulfillment wash over her. It's important that we stand together and support one another. The trust she had built within the community felt like a powerful foundation, shaping her path forward as she continued to cultivate the bonds of solidarity and resilience. Kaelin began organizing community gatherings, feeling the excitement grow as villagers shared their ideas and talents. "Let's hold our first training session in the village square," she suggested, envisioning a space where everyone could participate and learn from one another. A ripple of enthusiasm spread through the crowd, and several villagers eagerly volunteered to lead activities. "I can teach some self-defense moves," one man offered with a confident grin, while another chimed in, eager to provide knowledge on local herbs and healing techniques. Kaelin's heart swelled with pride at their willingness to contribute, recognizing how each person's participation strengthened the community. "Together, we'll create a safe haven, ensuring everyone feels empowered," she declared, solidifying a vision that grew more vibrant with each voice that joined the chorus. With enthusiasm mounting, Kaelin facilitated the villagers' discussions, watching as ideas flowed freely among them. However, some voiced concerns, their faces reflecting doubt as they questioned the effectiveness of the proposed training sessions. "What if we invest all this time and it doesn't make a difference?" one elderly villager asked, her voice tinged with skepticism. Kaelin paused, acknowledging the validity of the worry while feeling the weight of responsibility on her shoulders. "Change takes time, but every step we take now is one toward building a stronger community," she reminded them, her resolve shining through. Another villager raised a hand. "If we do this together, we can make an impact. I believe in us." Their reactions revealed the pivotal moment of growth. Kaelin's evolution as a leader was beginning to inspire confidence and a willingness to take risks among her allies, emphasizing their collective journey toward resilience. Kaelin felt the energy in the air shift as the villagers began to embrace her vision, their apprehensions slowly melting away. "Let's put together a schedule that works for everyone," she proposed, and the group quickly moved to collaborate on timing and activities. One villager suggested a rotating schedule so that everyone could contribute, and Kaelin beamed, appreciating the innovative idea. "Perfect. This way, we can tailor the sessions to cover a range of topics," she replied, her enthusiasm infectious. As the villagers discussed and planned, Kaelin could see how her growth inspired a newfound sense of purpose within them. With each voice added to the conversation, the collective hope and determination began to forge stronger bonds, connecting them all in a commitment to their shared future. As the villagers finalized their plans, Kaelin felt a wave of gratitude wash over her. "Thank you all for stepping up and sharing your skills," she said, looking around at the eager faces filled with newfound resolve. The realization of their combined strength settled in her heart, igniting a fire within her. "I believe that by fostering this community spirit, we can stand against any threat," she added, hoping to inspire confidence in their collective purpose. A villager responded, "We're all in this together. Your leadership has shown us what we can achieve as a group." With each word, Kaelin felt their unity solidifying, a reflection of her journey toward becoming a true leader and a promise of what lay ahead for Avalor. With their plans fully realized, Kaelin stepped back to observe the camaraderie blossoming among the villagers. The energy in the square pulsed with excitement as people began to pair off, ready to share their knowledge and learn from one another. Kaelin caught sight of Leo, enthusiastically demonstrating a new self-defense move, his earlier anxiety replaced by confidence, as others eagerly joined in. She felt a swell of pride at the transformation within her community, recognizing how far they had all come together. Mira approached her, a spark of excitement in her eyes. "I never believed we could come together like this. It feels different now." Kaelin nodded, the warmth of her allies surrounding her, realizing that their journey had not only prepared them for the challenges ahead, but had also forged a strong foundation for the future of Avalor. Chapter 33, A Bright Horizon. Kaelin stood at the center of the bustling marketplace, the familiar sights now infused with new energy and purpose. With the training center established, she felt a sense of pride swell within her as villagers gathered, eager to learn and participate in their community's growth. "Welcome, everyone. Today marks the beginning of our journey together," she announced, the excitement palpable as she surveyed the crowd. The villagers responded with smiles and nods, ready to embrace the opportunities that lay ahead. Kaelin breathed in deeply, recognizing the significance of the moment, knowing that it wasn't just about training, it was about uniting to protect their future. As she shared her vision for the center, she could see the spark igniting in her allies' eyes, indicating that they were all ready to step forward into this new adventure. As Kaelin spoke about the upcoming workshops, she noticed familiar faces in the crowd, each representing the diversity of their community. A young girl raised her hand, enthusiasm shining brightly in her eyes. "Will there be classes on how to use the herbs?" she asked, her voice full of eagerness. "Yes, we'll have sessions on herbal medicine and healing techniques. Everyone's skills will be put to use," Kaelin replied, feeling a rush of energy at the thought of collaboration. An older villager added, "What about defending our village? We need to be prepared for any attacks." Kaelin nodded, appreciating the proactive spirit. "Absolutely. Each session will cover self-defense and tactics. We will build a united front." As more villagers chimed in with ideas and questions, Kaelin felt her heart swell with pride, recognizing that the strength of Avalor lay in its people, united and ready to face the future together. As Kaelin continued to engage with the crowd, she noticed a shift in the atmosphere. Villagers began speaking with newfound confidence, eager to contribute to the cause. One man, previously quiet, stepped forward. "I can share what I know about fortifying homes. We should all know how to protect ourselves." Kaelin smiled, grateful for his initiative. "That's exactly the kind of collaboration we need. Everyone's experience can strengthen us." The collective spirit ignited excitement among the crowd, with more villagers voicing their willingness to share skills and knowledge. "Let's create a schedule that includes everything we talked about, from self-defense to resource management," she suggested, her mind racing with the possibilities. As she listened to their ideas flow, Kaelin felt a renewed sense of purpose, recognizing that this embrace of community would fortify their resolve as they prepared to face any challenges that lay ahead. Together, they were not just building a training center, they were laying the groundwork for a resilient future. Kaelin felt the excitement in the air grow as they finalized the outline for their first training sessions. "Let's make this a collaborative effort," she encouraged, knowing that their strength lay in the unity they had forged. "I'll coordinate the first self-defense workshop," Finn volunteered, determination brimming in his voice. Kaelin smiled at him, seeing how far he had come since the beginning of their journey. "I'd love for you to lead that, Finn. Your skills will inspire confidence in others." As discussions continued, villagers started to share their insights, reflecting hopes for a safer community as they planned the within the training center. Kaelin recognized that their collective aspirations were becoming a reality, not just for today, but for the future they were all working toward together. As the villagers wrapped up their discussions and began to form small groups for training, Kaelin took a moment to step back and observe the transformation unfolding before her. The once hesitant townspeople moved with purpose, eager to share their skills and learn from one another. "I can't believe how quickly everyone has come together," she said to Ryan, who stood beside her, a proud smile on his face. "It's inspiring to see," he replied, glancing at the villagers practicing together. "You've really sparked something here." Kaelin felt warmth spread through her, realizing that this was more than just a training center. It was a symbol of unity and resilience for Avalor. Knowing that each effort they put forth was laying a foundation for the future, she felt a renewed sense of responsibility to nurture this community spirit moving forward. As her allies began to disperse and head to their respective roles, Kaelin felt an overwhelming sense of pride and purpose. She stepped forward, ready to lead the first workshop, her heart racing with anticipation. "Thank you all for being here and for believing in this vision," she called out, her voice clear and unwavering. The villagers gathered closer, excitement lighting up their faces as they prepared to learn and share. Kaelin felt the weight of her journey settle into resolve, knowing this was just the beginning of a new chapter for Avalor. With a deep breath, she led the way into their first training session, eager to cultivate the community spirit that would protect them all in the trials to come.